Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. We got a great show today. We have the legend Yves Edwards in studio, as Rashad Evans, who forgot it was a show today, but he's on his way, as well as CB Gold. We have undefeated Titan FC, two-time Titan FC champion, Jose Shorty Torres. Two-weight division, actually, even better. Calling in. Yves, how are you, man? What's going on?
Not too much, man. I'm doing well. Just chilling, having a good time, being back in LA.
Now, I invited you to my wedding. I was excited you to come, and you're going to space camp with your son.
Yeah, he's got a science camp in Houston that he really wanted to do. It was only so many spots and only so many invitations. There were like 60 spots and like 80 something.
That's
kids.
really sweet though. I couldn't even get it. I was actually happy. Like I was like, man, that's awesome. He's never gonna forget that you're his dad. And it's so funny because your kid is like, he came to the show one day. He was like the nicest, sweetest, like brightest. It's almost like sometimes you ever talk to a kid, especially if the kid's British, and you just feel really dumb. Like you're talking to a 12-year-old, but you know that kid's smarter than you now, and what he's going to be like when he's 18 or 20 or 30. He's going to be a doctor or a scientist or whatever. But your son gives me that impression of like he's just too bright for his own age.
He's a smart kid, man. He's always been smart. He's always been witty. You know, he's quick-witted. I got a million stories. I don't want to kill the podcast with a million stories about my kid, but no, he's pretty awesome, man. He's my favorite. He's my favorite guy.
Your favorite guy. Now, did you want him? Did you try to like? I know a lot of times, like I know if I have a son, I'm like, oh, he's on the wrestling mat. He's 3 years old. He's going to be wrestling. If I have a daughter, I'm going to make her do jiu-jitsu or even wrestle as well. Did you push him into mixed martial arts at all, or?
No.
You knew right away that this kid was going to be a scientist.
I let him kind of show me what he was into, and as far as the fight stuff goes, at one point he's small for his age, you know, but so are a lot of people, but he wanted to learn how to protect himself. So then that was it, and I was like, yeah, I'll show you everything I know about protecting yourself. I don't have to teach you how to fight. You don't have to know how to fight. You know, that's a different thing. And yeah, as far as mixed martial arts,
can you show us those two? What did you show him?
It's just the basics. It's just the basics and how things work, and not really try to instill that mentality of like you got to get up, you got to get out, you got to do this. You know, it's just being comfortable with the basics and knowing how to throw punches, how to throw kicks, how to take downs, how to do those things. And that's all I want him to be able to do. I don't care if he because like on the street, yeah, if he runs into a mixed martial artist, you know, he's gonna have some problems. Mm-hmm. But if you're a mixed martial artist, most of the time, 90% of the time, you're not going around picking fights.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Actually, there was one kid when I was coaching wrestling, and his father had just passed away, I think his uncle brought him to wrestling practice and was like, hey, the kid's, you know, his name is Lior, and he was this nerdy, like everything you think of a Lior, that's exactly what he looked like. He's just like nerdy, skinny, you know, curly hair.
He's like, everything's like, not good.
Yeah, basically Eeyore, right. So, and I remember one time I couldn't find him in practice. I'm like, Lior, and he was hiding underneath the mat. Like, he actually found a way to put the mat over him, like in the corner. I'm like, okay, this kid doesn't want to wrestle. But I'll tell you what, Lior stuck out the season, and he actually won a match, and everybody was going crazy. It's funny how the whole team was like...
Was he the crier?
No, this was years ago. There's always usually one kid where, you know, you're just like, man, this is what wrestling was made for, is so you get these
Every
kids.
team has a Rudy.
Rudy, exactly was Rudy, and
it's like an actual bar mitzvah of like you are now a man because you're throwing other men around.
It's just unbelievable, and it's a lot of. One time, like there was that kid on my team, his father. I remember this kid on my team the first day of practice, the first match, he cried every single practice. And I go to the ref, and I'm like, hey, man, this kid's probably going to cry within a minute. I just want to let you know. And we look over, and he was already crying before the match. So I had to go up to him and be like, hey, man, it's going to be okay. If you win, you win. You lose, you lose. Which I never had, like, even put losing in the kid's head before a match, but I'm like, just try your hardest. You know, it's totally fine. You're out there, so you won. He went out there, almost got a takedown, surprised himself, ended up pinning. But towards the end of the season, he was taking kids down left and right, and I started tearing. I was crying. I was so happy for this kid. But I go to his father. I'm like, hey, did your son ever try to quit? He's like, every single day. He goes, but you know what? It's not a democracy in this house. It's a dictator, and I'm the dick. That's what his dad told me, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I just got back from El Paso this morning, actually. I was on a flight at 6 a.m. I got an hour of sleep. It was fun. Very Mexican. A lot of Latin people and very Mexican.
Mexico is like. Did you get down to I-10 there?
Yeah.
Mexico is literally like a stone's throw away from I-10.
We're right by Juarez, and which is, I think more people died in Juarez last year than like Iraq or Afghanistan. It was some kind of crazy stat. Like Juarez was like, that's like in Breaking Bad when they were like, I think the turtles. That was like Juarez with the turtles on the head. That scene. There was a scene where like these two guys were killing people and they beheaded this guy and they put their heads on these turtles and they were.
I remember that.
So if you saw it, you wouldn't be able to. By the way, Breaking Bad, still my favorite show of all time. There's not been a show as good as Breaking Bad.
So I need to go ahead and watch it.
It's not. I mean, I envy you because you haven't watched it, and it's amazing. At the same time, it's like, what was it, season 4 or 5? And now you have like 90 hours to go. Yeah. But it's like The Sopranos. It's up there. Those are my 2 favorite shows of all time.
So I need to go watch The Sopranos
too
now.
You know those two. You know the two brothers.
Yeah.
They are real brothers in real life. One of those guys is here. We worked with him a couple of times on different shows here.
Oh,
and he's starting to train too. So.
Total badass, those guys. And those guys are like legit. Yeah, Breaking Bad is unbelievable. You would love it. You remind me of Jesse a little bit if he. I don't know.
All right.
Had some issues. Okay, so anyway.
You had nothing there.
So I do the show, and I'm on stage, and there was this like cute pregnant woman in the front, and she must have been like 8 or 9 months pregnant, which people say. I actually want to close the door because it's getting. So somebody told me that a couple times there's been pregnant women in my show, and I'm like very pregnant, and they say like when you can't give birth, laughter. What? Oh shit! My dog's outside. I'm trying to get CB to close the door so that the Miles, come here. Come on. A lot of times when you can't give birth, when you're having trouble giving birth, the doctors will say to go to comedy clubs because laughing will actually help you, I guess, ease up the tension and you can
eat some Indian food.
That too.
Have you ever gotten a thank you card of like, your show was so funny that my boy came out 2 weeks early and we love him and we named him Adam?
No, I've never gotten that card.
Damn it.
Except from your parents.
My name's not Adam.
That's a good point. So what happened was I'm on stage and there's this cute pregnant woman and I'm like, oh, so where's the father? And she's like, oh, it was my doctor. I'm like, what, really? She's like, yeah, I went to my general doctor and I got pregnant. I'm like, what, how bad is Obamacare down here? Where and then
this doesn't feel like a pap smear at all.
I'm like, are you awake? I'm like, was your doctor Dr. Huxpital? Like I had all these jokes, and then like her grandmother was there, who looked like she was 37, and she was a fucking gilf, which grandmother I like to fuck. So and I was like, are you happy with this, Grandma? And she's like, well, he's rich. I'm like, well, that's a good point. But so that was that was yesterday.
Those are the standards.
He probably has good credit. That's about it.
Unbelievable. But she wasn't even like upset about it. She was like, "Is that normal?"
Well, like not to play the race card, but you were in El Paso. Were they Hispanic? Were they Latino?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe that's like it was crazy. That was crazy. And then Then I had a show last Wednesday at an apartment complex. I've been doing these apartment complex shows.
I saw it on Instagram and Facebook and stuff.
They're kind of funny. Like they pay really good. They actually
wasn't it a clean show though?
Yeah, they pay 10 times better than what I get in town at a comedy club. If you think about it, but you go there and there was little kids there. I mean, like, I'm talking about like 5-year-olds. And it reminded me of like the cruise ships, which were like the worst shows I had to do because you have to do these G-rated shows. Yeah. And I would get heckled by 3-year-olds. They'd be like, "Boo," or "You stink," and I'm. So I would go to
I'd be like, "No, you stink, you little shit."
Yeah, you can't do crowd work on a 3-year-old.
Well, what I would do is I would go, "Listen, kid, look at me. I'm your future." And then the kids would just look shocked. They didn't know how to react.
So it was a comedy show for adults and a horror story for children.
Yeah, no, it was the worst. One time I had a father try to fight me on a kid's show. It was like this heavy guy, and he was going to the bathroom. I'm like, "Oh, are you going to the buffet?" And he charges the stage, and he goes like, "Hey, motherfucker, that's not funny." And I'm like, "Dude, there are kids here. I can't even respond."
I think it's pretty funny.
I can't even respond.
I would have pointed out all the people that were laughing.
So people were like, "Ooh," but then when he started cursing, it got real serious, right? Yeah. And of course, the guy in charge of the comedy show was some Serbian guy who doesn't even speak English. He's like, that's like his summer job or something. So I'm like, "Relax, dude. Come back to the later show. We'll do this again, right?" And he's like, fuck you. And he fucking storms out.
That's like the most basic joke, though. Fat guy going to the buffet, and that's what pisses him off.
Yeah, and he said he got pissed off and he came running back out. I wouldn't have been upset. I would have been like, it's okay, man. We're not going to fight. You're tired. You just ran here.
Yeah, you just ran your calories off that you're going to go eat at the buffet right now.
It was unbelievable. And then I got a bad write-up because of that show. They go, he caused a fight during the kids show.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before you go to an Adam Hunter show, do not check Yelp. You might see some exaggerated reviews.
It was like on the cruises, which were the hardest because you weren't allowed to hook up with the guests. That was like one of the things. You can get fired for hooking up with the guests. Because I guess probably sometimes like some bachelorettes or something went on the cruise and banged the comic and then said I was drunk, I was taken advantage of. Who knows what happened, but you're not allowed to fuck the guests, right? Which of course, who wants to fuck you on the cruise ship? The guests, Right. They're the only ones that really want to fuck you because everyone else is stuck there for a year and they know that you're only there for a day and the guests are happy and everyone else is miserable. So I would have to like take girls to like find out where there were no cameras on the ship, and the security guards were like straight from India, and they took it very seriously. Like this was like they were like the sheriffs.
Like,
they
were going to get deported.
Yeah,
they're like the British ones in front of Buckingham Palace that don't talk; they just stare at you all creepy.
That's exactly what happened. They would take this so seriously. You had to wear a name tag all the time, and then they had to like. So I would take girls to the top of the ship where I knew the cameras weren't, and then try to get a hand job from them. Like I'd be like, "Hey, kiss them," facing the ocean. So that they couldn't see what was going on. And there's nothing more like embarrassing than being like in your mid-30s getting a hand job from a guest on a cruise. And she's like, why are we here? Are you going to throw me off the ship? Like, the fuck is going on? And then I'm worried that like the security cameras go into everyone's, like there's like a channel on the boat that like is just everything on the ship. So like channel 4. But but I don't know where the cameras are. So I'm like, great. Camera 4 is gonna be me getting a fucking hand job.
Look at the lagoon pool. Look at that beautiful restaurant. What the fuck is that? Is that guy getting a hand job? Wait, didn't we go to his show tonight?
And one time it was a black chick. So I'm like, great. Probably thinks I'm getting jerked off by a ghost because you couldn't even see the fuck. It's
probably on World Star.
It probably is on World Star. Yeah, I love World. Do you watch World Star?
I follow him on Instagram, but I don't watch a whole lot.
Oh man! So whenever I'm feeling bad about my life, I go on World Star. It is the greatest thing ever. The comments are so racist, but they're hilarious. I'm like, man, if you guys would just get off World Star and submit to comedy channels or something, some of the funniest shit I've ever. And it could be the most simple things like black dog attacks white dog and the black dog wins. Like, see, white people, they're sus or whatever it is. It's always something about race, and then it goes into like Atlanta people versus New York people, and then it just becomes about Meek Mill. And then it becomes about Trump. It's just some fucking strange rabbit hole.
And then
of
Kathy
nonsense.
Griffin.
Yeah, Kathy Griffin, by the way. My thoughts on that. Look, what she did wasn't funny. It wasn't a joke. There was no setup or punchline. It was just her holding a fucking severed head. And at the same time, like, obviously that wasn't right, what she did. But, I don't think she should be fired because when you start coming after people's jobs, it's just kind of like, I'm not a fan of that because people, when I was at Fox Sports, people tried to come after my jobs for some of the tweets that I wrote about fighters, even though the fighters themselves were retweeting them. And I didn't like it. So I didn't like it when Kathy Griffin does. At the same time, she shouldn't have apologized. Once you apologize, then the people that are mad at you are never going to accept your apology.
Yeah.
And the people that were for you are now going, oh,
they lost
shit.
some respect.
They lost respect. So there's that. And her press conference was insane. By the way, we have Rashad Evans here. Oh, hey, no, it's not. It's a package. All right.
Every episode, guys.
All right.
I had something like it wasn't like Kathy Griffin thing, but it was after the fights last weekend. After the Vitor fight, I tweeted Vitor just won all the steroids, right? And somebody got upset about it, and they were mad at me, and they were like, they said something, but stay in the booth, you scrub, or something like that.
Wow.
And I ignored it, and then they came back with, are you mad that he had a better career than you? And I'm thinking to myself, I responded to that because I'm a grammar Nazi. I hate when you say then when you should have said then. So I pointed that out to him, and then he
They
came.
don't like that very much.
Yeah,
they don't appreciate that at all.
There's because they're dumb as shit.
It's harder than insulting them.
But then when he came back, he said something to me about say that to Vitor's face, and I'm like, dude, I'm not some fucking scrub on the internet. Like I'm not hiding behind anything. I'll see Vitor a lot of different places. Like he can see this. I don't have a problem with him. You could just retweet that and send it to him. I'm not hiding behind anything. My name's on it.
Not to mention the fact that like you want to go like substance free, your career versus Vitor Belfort's career. I would say your career is much better. I mean, once Vitor stopped taking the TRT, he was a completely different fighter, and he was getting stopped left and right. And I would put your career. I would say it's better than Vitor's career.
Hey, like, yeah, and that being said, I appreciate it, but Vitor has done what he's done. He's done some things that are impressive. His resume is awesome, and I have a lot of respect for what he's done and for him as a fighter.
He did not
as an individual, when he as far as cheating, you cheat, you get caught, fuck you. I don't care who you are. So, I love John Jones. I think he's one of the best guys on the planet as a fighter. I think he's a cool guy. I've spent time with him. But yeah, for the things that he's done wrong, yeah, those things are wrong, and I'll call him on that. I don't care who you are. I don't. It does just because if you screw up. And I have a problem with that. That doesn't mean you're a piece of shit and you're the worst person in the world. But yeah, if you screw up, I'm going to call you on it. I'm sorry if you don't
like when you told Bisping GSP is going to beat him and everybody threw a fit for no reason.
Well, he wants your honest opinion. Don't ask for your honest opinion if you're not going to get it.
They can't take it.
And also, yeah, but don't. I would not like to see you get in trouble for like that's the thing is like so just be careful. Like when what's his name? The guy who went to NFL. Mike Goldberg, like his first day.
God!
You heard about what happened? No. Mike Goldberg got a job with the NFL.
He was like
that was his
Madden.
That was his thing. Like he was and he fucked up 4 or 5 times. Like it was his first time ever doing it. I think he did stuff for the Arizona college team, but this is different. It's NFL. It's Fox. And he made a couple mistakes. Okay, he's human. Fine, but. Fans were like, Goldberg, you suck, and you blah, blah. And then he goes, grab a headset, dick, and started going off on people.
Yeah.
And got fired right away.
Yeah.
And that was a huge, I mean, there's no way Mike Goldberg isn't kicking himself in the ass for that. I mean, the money he would have gotten for that, who knows how many things he could have gotten for that.
The rule is, I came up in mixed martial arts when the underground was where you went to get your information on fighting, you know? So, like, I'm troll proof, man. Like, you know, you don't feed them. It's as simple as that. You don't feed trolls. Like, if I respond to a troll, you get one response and that's it. I'm not getting into a tirade about people's moms or penis sizes and all that stuff.
No, and that's the thing. There are so many times that I've wanted to make mother jokes about people, but then they always come back with, my mom died, and then I feel like an asshole. You know, even if their mom didn't die, I feel like an asshole. It's just...
so that's why she didn't move that much.
There's no way of winning. And the way I look at it is like, okay, I'm up to 69,000 followers on Twitter or something, some kind of cool number like that. And some guy goes, you suck, or like, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I look at the guy has 100 followers. I'm like, I could
he just started Twitter yesterday.
I could respond to you, or he didn't. Like, there's a guy who I know who always fucks with me, but he has like 400,000 tweets. He's a writer for some website, but he's got like 3,000 followers. And I want to be like, bro, it's not working. This is not working for you. Like you have a tweet per minute. Like, you know, but at the same time, I'm now giving him credibility. I've now
and fodder.
Anybody that actually like, you know, follows me now see that I've interacted with him.
Yep.
So fuck him. Like let him. It's like, I mean, the most irritating things that people could have is like when you talk to someone and they ignore you. Have your girl ignore you, or somebody. You go to a club and you're like, hey babe, how's it going? And she ignores you. It's way fucking worse than a girl going, as if or something, or saying something rude. When she gives you attention, you're like, oh, fuck. But when she ignores you, like, at least I used to get annoyed. Like, oh, you too good to even fucking talk to me? Like, Jesus, wow. Like, fuck that.
We've feed
had
the trolls.
This conversation, though, because we've had fighters on here that go back at fans that have 12 followers and just stir the pot even more.
I mean, some guys, it kind of works for them, like Al Iaquinta or, you know, certain guys.
Him and John Vellante over the weekend with Platinum Mike Perry.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking hilarious.
They were going at Mike Perry. But who do you think wins that fight, by the way? Because if they make that fight in Long Island, Al versus Mike Perry.
Yeah, but Al's 155.
But he said he'll go to 70 to fight Perry.
He's going to be a big 70. He's going to be a big 70.
Mike Perry's a big kid. And, I mean, he hits hard. I think Quinta has more skills. He can wrestle. His boxing is solid. Perry can box, but we saw Jake. I mean, Jake was kind of piecing him up, but he hits so hard. Yeah. It only takes one from that kid, man. And he's a savage. He's a fighter. It doesn't matter. That guy is dangerous from minute 1 to minute 15.
Yeah.
It doesn't
he even
matter
had he even looked like he might have rocked what's the name Juban a couple times. I mean, Juban won the fight.
Yeah, it made me. I was a little
won
nervous.
every round, but there was a couple times where I was like, Meanwhile, by the way, final story about El Paso. This guy comes after the show. And he's like, hey, man, you're really funny. And I was like calling him San Quentin from the show or something. I was calling him like, hey, man, I loved you in Gangland. And he goes, yo, man, that was funny. He goes, I really was locked up for 13 years. I'm like, oh, sorry to hear that. I'm like, for what? He's like, drug trafficking. I'm like, oh, shit. The guy has like, his hand looks like the fake hand in Kingpin. He goes, yeah, I got shot 3 weeks ago. And you could see where the bullet went in. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, man, anything you need. You need girls, you need coke, you need this. I'm like, fuck. Like, thanks, great tour guide. But like, fuck, man. Jesus Christ. Some guy.
Did you keep his number?
No. Absolutely. If he wanted to go to Starbucks, I'd say no. That guy, it looks like trouble is fucking following that guy. Like, no way. By the way, where did you think, I got to get your opinion, and we'll get Rashad's opinion all the way. So Bill Maher, right? Did I ever tell you that Bill Maher story when I was on Leno? If I told it, whatever. So the first time I did Leno, Bill Maher was on. I've always been a Bill Maher fan. I love Politically Incorrect. I love Real Time. And I do my set, and Bill Maher's laughing at all my jokes. And I'm like, Leno and Maher are laughing, and the crowd's laughing, and I'm on cloud 9.
Yeah.
So afterwards, I go up to Bill Maher. I'm like, hey, man, thanks for laughing. And he's like, man, laughter's not voluntary. He's like, you were hilarious. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. And then like an idiot, my next question, I didn't know what to say. They're like, hey, make sure act like you're talking while you go to commercial. Like, really talk to each other, because that's why they tell you to do that when you're on these talk shows. So I said, hey, man, do you still like doing comedy? And he's like, I wouldn't do it if I didn't still like it. And I'm like, that was a really stupid question. He goes, it's a lot easier when you have your own jet. I was like, wow, like, I guess it is. I'm like, wow, I guess, yeah. And then Leno was like, what are you guys talking about? And he's like, when was the last time that you flew, Coach Bill Maher? And they're like, I'm like, I don't fit into this conversation at all. And it was sort of obnoxious to say it's easier when you have your own private jet, but I'm sure it is easier when you have your own private jet.
Yeah, it is.
By the way, Rashad Evans is here. If you can get Rashad, CB. Thank you. But so Bill Maher over the weekend said the N-word. But he said it in a way where he was making fun of himself. It wasn't like Kramer, where he just went off on people and like, I don't know if you saw what happened.
I didn't see what happened.
So he had the guy from Nebraska, the governor from Nebraska, the congressman from Nebraska, and he was talking to him. He was a Republican, just had a book out. Can't wait to come out the book. I forgot the guy's name. Sorry if I forgot his name. And the guy goes, hey, Bill, you should come to Nebraska, work in the fields with us. And he goes, the fields? I'm a house N-word, right? And then he goes, everyone laughed, and he goes, oh, it's a joke, people, it's a joke. So then on Twitter, everybody starts, some people have his back. This guy, Killer Mike, I guess.
Killer Mike.
Killer Mike had his back. Other people were like, this is bullshit. He doesn't have permission to say that. There's a guy named D-Ray, something, not the comedian D-Ray, but a guy who's... it seems like he's a very prominent guy in the black community. D-Ray's like, Bill Maher does not have this right to say this, unexcusable. And people were saying HBO canceled the show, blah, blah. Bill Maher then apologized. He apologized that I lost sleep. I shouldn't have said that. Now, what's your feeling? Now, I looked on World Star, and a lot of people said that Bill Maher has a hood pass because of people that he's had on before. And other people were like, no, he doesn't have the right to say that. Now, you being the spokesman for the black community, and Rashad Evans as well. What's up, Rashad? How's it going, brother? Does Bill Maher, or does any white person have a hood pass to say the N-word? Yves, Rashad, tell us your feelings on this.
Yeah, certain people have a hood pass to say that, but I don't know Bill Maher's hood credentials.
Yes.
As far as the way that sounded, I don't know, man. I have to see it in context.
Yeah.
But from what I'm hearing, I'm not digging it. I'm not feeling it.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm not a big fan of the N-word.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's I just as you get older, you start learning you pay more attention to things, and people like Maya Angelou and we're not. I mean, we're like 2 generations away from slavery. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it can be powerful, and depending on the context. And I would have to see the context of what he said and the way it came out.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
Say?
So he had this Republican governor on from Nebraska. He has a book out, and then he said to him, the guy from Nebraska said, "Bill, why don't you come to Nebraska? Come work in the fields with us, or like come to the fields." And he goes, "The fields," and he goes, "I'm a house N-word."
Oh,
and then everyone started
right?
laughing.
You're not
People
feeling
started
that,
laughing.
Oh,
But he said it, and then he goes, "That's a joke. That's a joke." And then afterwards, Twitter blew up. Some people were saying that like Killer Mike had his back. Other people were saying he doesn't have the right to say that.
And that's where I'm like, I got to see the context, because a guy like Killer Mike, he knows history, he knows a lot of things. He's a smart man, you know. And if he's got his back, then the context, like the way I'm hearing it, I'm like, I'm not feeling it. But like a guy like that, if he has his back and he heard it in context, then I would want to see.
He's
the
had Killer Mike on the
context,
show before, though.
Yeah, I know.
yeah. I think. I mean, you know, Killer Mike probably knows him really well, and he probably knows his intent and how he jokes around and stuff like that. So. It's probably something he wouldn't want to say in front of too many other black people besides, you know,
Right.
his friends that are like.
So
I mean, that's the thing about it. Like when you like the past, and I use the quotation marks. Like, I mean, it's nothing more than just, you know, if you're a white guy or whatever race, and you are always like with black folks, and you know.
So like the Beastie Boys back in the day used to say in their rap songs. So is it, like, do they have the past? They were on tour with Public Enemy.
That's what I'm saying.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I don't remember any Beastie songs.
I remember.
It's a weird thing for.
Does Eminem have the past? Seems like Eminem said.
No,
it before.
but I always respect Eminem. I always respect Eminem because Eminem never really says it. He never says. He never says. He never.
So
he
doesn't
never
have
says
the past.
it. Well, I mean, it's not like the past. the word the past is. I think when any person that's not black using that word in public and loose in a loose situation where they're not amongst, you know, that
The people that give them the pass?
then it's gonna always be misconstrued. You know what I'm saying?
It
You
seems
could be
like
the
rappers
coolest-
have the past. So what if you say it but you have a beep under you? Does that
Well,
count?
there's like a lot of Latino rappers that say it,
Does Mike Perry have the
like
past?
Fat Joe. or
Mike Perry
like
doesn't have the
some
past,
of the
right?
other guys.
Right, but
I don't think
but then
so.
you have but the thing with the Latino rappers is like you have the Afro Latin community.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
It's
they're
a mix.
Yeah, so a lot of the Latin culture, they're mixed with black people, and I mean they have a lot of, you know,
What's
black
his name?
culture.
Always says it. That stupid rapper with the that got knocked out by what's his name's bodyguard. The game's
that?
bodyguard,
The
the guy
rat?
from
Oh,
Florida. He's like the-
Stitches.
Stitches always says it,
Stitches.
but he's half Cuban or he's a
Yeah.
quarter Cuban.
The thing about the hood pass is it's not universal.
It's
You know what I
not.
mean?
That's it.
So all
That's
black
it.
people aren't giving the pass.
Right, exactly.
Like you can be the coolest white dude in the hood, and everybody know you, and you know what I'm saying, you have a lot of respect and whatnot.
And then a brother
amongst-
from
and then
another hood
among-
comes in
yeah,
there?
and then people amongst, when you're amongst your people, you can talk freely how you guys talk. But like if you're around,
Yeah,
mixed
the way
company,
I look at it is there's no point. If you know it's going to upset some people, then what's the point?
Well, Jews don't walk around like, or other people come like, "Oh, what's up, Kike? How you doing, man?" Like,
Yeah, but the thing
sure
about
as
Jews
dead.
can't beat the shit out of you, most of them. So I feel a lot safer saying it around
What about Barry Horowitz?
at like a yeshiva than saying it at you know the boys club in Harlem. But I understand now. What about Jason Williams, the basketball player? That
White
guy.
chocolate?
Why he must have said it a couple times. Right?
well, I mean, look, I mean, yeah.
Like Chris Webber and stuff. That's a little bit different.
If you average a certain amount of assists, are you allowed to say it?
But here's what
Like we were
But you know,
boys.
honestly speaking, though, like a lot of white people that are really really cool with the culture, and that really really down, and probably technically could have a pass, they never use it because they never want to look as if like, you know what I'm saying, like they're trying to be too
hard.
much, trying to be
Insensitive.
too much. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of thing. Like when you're trying to be when you're trying to be hood,
Right,
and
absolutely
that's
right.
and that's the thing with Bill Maher. It's not like he was he's trying. He just made a
joke.
made an off the cuff joke.
But he hooked up with Superhead. Like, Superhead did blow him.
Yeah, I know he got a thing for the chocolate, but still, I seen he had a thing for the chocolate, but you know, it's not gonna be accepted in every crowd.
Yeah.
Right, guys.
It's a little different too for me because where I'm from. You know, I'm from a place where everybody's black. You know, I grew up. The principal of my high school is black. The principal of all my schools are black.
Did they come late or no? Like school started at 4:30 in the afternoon.
You know, but being from the Bahamas, that's how everything is. You know,
First period is tomorrow,
and the N word is not like it's not. It just means male. You know what I mean? You'd be like. We'll see some guy tossing a wheelie down the road, and it's a white guy. It's like, man, that white nigga bad, eh?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like just and like white people in Bahamas, man, why these niggas always messing with me, man? I can't look, you know.
like you said it to me via text, like you my, and then you say it, but I never respond. I'm always like, thank you.
I think, but listen,
I never say it back. I'm always like,
I think we getting at something deeper. I think Adam wants to know, does he have
a pass? Fuck that. Hell no.
I think he wants a pass to say it. I think
Absolutely
he's
not. Unless we're role playing, and me and my girl. Absolutely no.
Let's go down to Irvine or Compton.
Yeah.
No, but even like
nice.
years ago, I played in a like a worldwide basketball tournament, and the rest of the team was black kids and whatever.
That was on
and-
Xbox.
No, that was real life.
Okay, go on.
But like they walk around like some kids were bullying me, and one of my new friends was like, "Leave the alone," and I'm like, "He's talking about me?" Like he's talking, and then he kept saying it. And I'm like, "What's he talking about?"
Yeah, no, it's funny when like a black person says it to you because I never know
but
how,
you're
I
like,
never know how to
what?
respond.
Yeah.
I'm always just like, especially when I'm on stage and someone calls to me like, "You might," and I'm on stage and I'm like, I'm always like, I can't repeat that.
Yeah.
You too.
It's a laugh.
But yeah, I agree with you. A lot of places, you know, that I've been, and most of the time when people say the N word, they talk about males in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this Chinese nigga, this.
Yep.
So
Get that
It's
in the
not even
Bahamas.
like a racial.
Nah, it's
term anymore.
just
like an
yeah.
So Bill Maher apologized. He apologized, and then it seems like everything's going to be okay for him. But
And then he banged 3 black chicks.
well, but it's just so I see he apologized. I still don't think. I'm not sure if he should have apologized or not. I don't like this new comedians fuck up then apologize. I feel like
Own
in some
that, right?
some ways own it. In some ways the apology is only because you got in trouble. It's not because of what you did.
Oh, you really like you
know?
admit you fucked up.
Yeah.
Instead of just
I just
yeah,
feel
like
like
owning it.
you were apologizing because you don't want to get in trouble, which is I
Yeah.
think is the wrong reason to apologize. At the same time, it's probably why most people apologize.
but also there's another side to that too. Like sometimes, it is because you got in trouble, but it's also because your intent was not to offend.
Right.
So if your intent was not to do something, then I can be like, you know what, I apologize because when I said it, my intentions were not to hurt you. It was just
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
try to make a joke. But I apologize if it offended you.
Right.
So I think that's where the apology comes from more than anything.
And then there was a girl online who some Republican ex-playmate who says that Bill Maher, when he first met her at the Playboy Mansion, said, "Oh, I wouldn't sleep with you. I like wish you were an N-word chick, because then I would bang you." So it was like he seems to be.
But that don't even
That's
seem
hearsay.
like that. No, wait, that doesn't even make any sense. I wish he was an N chick.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you don't even sound. That don't even sound like you would even say nothing like that.
Yeah, and like
I
why are
would
you waiting
check
till
that
right now
story.
to say it? It's
I would
like,
check that story.
Yeah, that sounds like hearsay, like a
That
mofo.
sound like
So-
BS.
So Rashad, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Just in LA for a couple of days. Did the Fox show.
Doing great on the Fox show. Both
Thank
you
I
guys are
appreciate
killing it on the Fox show.
I really like it. It's been a long time. I was doing some other things, but you know, now I want to start getting back in there.
Good. Now, okay, so all right, you're fighting Sam Alvey.
Yes.
When is this
Smiling
fight?
Sam, August 5th,
August 5th. Where is it?
Mexico City.
Mexico City.
Yeah, I didn't think that one through, but it's whatever.
Now,
Rashad, I gotta ask you. It's the day before my birthday. Can you hand me a birthday present?
I'm gonna do my best, man. That's all I can say. I'm gonna do my best.
now everyone always says the altitude is killer in Mexico City. All right, how are you going to prepare for this?
I'm gonna do a big portion of my camp in Mexico City or in Albuquerque.
Back to Jackson's?
Maybe not back to Jackson's. I'll probably go there and maybe spar a little bit, but Chris Luttrell is you know Chris Luttrell really well. Chris Luttrell is like one of the founders of Gato Jitsu, Greg Jackson style. You know, he was a airline. What was it?
Pilot?
No, not a pilot. He was
He worked for the
stewardess.
airline.
Yeah. Steward. He was a steward. Yeah.
Right.
Flight attendant.
Flight attendant. He was a Southwest flight attendant, and he would travel all over, and he'll always come to California. When he came to California, he'll go and train jiu-jitsu with the Gracies and stuff like that. So he was bringing all this information and knowledge back, and he'll bring it back to Greg Jackson, and then they'll like break it down, and then, you know, that's how Gato Jiu-Jitsu was born. So this guy's an old school pioneer, you know.
Right.
Yves fought him back in the day.
He was my first fight ever.
You win?
No, he won.
No.
I was like 19. This is like 1996.
Bellator rematch? What do you say?
Chris don't want none of this.
How'd it go?
How did it go? He had me in Kimura for about 18 minutes, and
No
I wasn't
way.
tapping.
18 minutes?
Yeah, I wasn't tapping.
Chris is just a violent, like he's a police officer now, undercover, and his MMA style is just violence and punishment. Like some of the stuff that he sometimes is like, listen, in this position here, we're not trying to look for the finish. We're not trying to look to do anything, but just hurt him.
Wow.
Just hurt him right here. We're gonna just hurt.
It's
him.
like when
Because
wrestling.
he's old school.
Yeah, he's old school. It's just not about finishing. It's about just like completely taking someone's.
So, okay,
will.
so is this gonna be you and him? Is this like blood sport? Are you like, is it an actual camp? Or are you guys going to the mountains? Or what's going on here?
Well, it's going to be an actual camp. I'm trying to get Mike Van Arsdale, one of my longtime coaches.
I knew his ex-wife.
You know his
She was
ex-wife?
in my acting class.
Who's that?
Hot black chick.
Really?
She was always like, yeah, I dated this guy, and then she would never tell me who. I'm like, was he good? She's like, he never won. I'm like, and then it was fucking Mike Van Arsdale.
It could have been. It was Mike Van
It's a
Arsdale.
legend, man. Like she was still
Wasn't
kind
he
of
hating?
She's still bitter.
First
Yeah.
of all, wait, hold on. You must be talking about somebody else because
hot black chick in L.A. She
yeah,
was like,
this dude's a spot blower.
Yeah.
For sure, Adam is a spot blower.
I remember that one time. I'm not even gonna blow you the spot right now. Remember that one?
No,
time?
you just did it just now. You
Okay.
just did it just
Okay.
now.
Yeah, but I'm not specific about it. We had him on the. We had
Oh
Rashad
my
on the
God,
podcast,
he's
right?
so terrible.
And I'm like, Rashad,
Oh.
and I'm like, what about? And all of a sudden, I start getting
worst.
texts. Stop asking me these fucking questions, dude. You're killing me. You're killing
Yo.
me. That was one of the funniest
Biggest
things.
spot blower. Yeah, but so I'm gonna have try to get Van. I'm gonna go in New Jersey for a little bit and work with Mark Henry, Frankie
Nice.
Edgar's coach. Yeah, Mark Henry's probably.
Great boxing coach.
Yeah,
But not only just great boxing, one of the best minds when it comes to like mixed martial arts. He knows transitions from striking to takedowns almost better than anybody. Like he was a wrestler himself, but he wasn't. But he just knows transitions, and he has really good time.
Look
If
at
you
his team.
Yeah, if you watch Frankie Edgar, the rhythmic timing that he has with combinations to the shots, you know, a lot of that is Mark Henry.
By the way,
and they
Yves,
drill it all the time.
I'm convinced that I got into an argument. I forgot with who on the show that I was convinced that your boy Poirier and Alvarez was coming back. He was mounting a comeback.
I'm convinced that Eddie Alvarez saw a way out of that fight, and that was the way out. He thought this was his best chance to win and completely forgot about the rules because Herb Dean screwed that up. When you come, Rashad will tell you, when you have a fight, the ref will come to the locker room and tell you, okay, these are the rules, right? Herb came to our locker room and he told Dustin, they haven't adopted the rules here in Texas. We're fighting by the old rules. If we're fighting by the old rules, all three of those knees are illegal. And if all three of those knees are illegal, how are they accidental?
I don't think he would have
Wait,
won.
wait a minute. I gotta stop you right there. I gotta stop you right there. I'm Team Eddie. All right. Well,
I'm sure you are.
no, yeah, but I want to say this. When you're out there in a fight, it just becomes that a fight.
Yeah.
And then when there's this gray area where what the rules are actually at, when you're in a fight mode, you're fighting.
Oh, I 100% agree.
This dude was knocked. He was dizzy. He was concussing. He was spinning out of his mind. And at the point where he was making the decisions he was making, he's fighting off of instinct.
Exactly.
So I don't think there was anything deliberate about what he did.
No, it's not
Or a
deliberate,
way
but it's
out.
not accidental. It's not. When I say a way out, I don't mean he wants to quit.
What do you
I
mean?
mean, this is his opportunity to win. He has but you
can't bite. I mean,
no, this is his opportunity to win, and he has Dustin in a position where I can do these things, and your instincts kick in, and with that being the opportunity, right? He's not paying attention to the hand being down or whatever. He's not thinking about all the other things, but here's my shot, and I'm going to take it. Right, and I'm not saying he's going to break the rules. No, I'm not backtracking. He's losing this fight, right?
Yeah,
and he
started making a comeback.
No, he was rocked right there, and Dustin pressed him right there. They got into an exchange. He was rocked going backwards. He clipped Dustin. Dustin slipped, and then when he switched positions, he clipped Dustin with a nice strong left hook.
Yeah.
Okay. Now. He gets to the takedown. He has that guillotine position. Dustin's trying to come up, and he has that front head, kind of in that front headlock. Dustin's head's down. He's in fight mode, and he's in a position where this is a good opportunity for me to win the fight, and not necessarily concerned with where Dustin's hands are. I'm taking over right now, and I'm going to put the pressure on him now. Right?
Do you think
the knees weren't intentional as far as being against the rules. They were intentionally thrown. But he didn't, and maybe he didn't know where Dustin's hands were.
Winning the actual MMA fight.
No,
he wanted to win the fight.
Eddie's a fighter. When you're a fighter, there's no quit in Eddie. Right. He's not trying to quit. He's trying to win, and this is an opportunity. And he's going to push the pay. He's going to push every chance he has now, and he's not thinking about that. This is where Herb Dean fucked up. Eddie didn't mess up. Eddie did what he's supposed to do.
If that fight keeps going, who wins?
I think Dustin still wins that fight. If those knees aren't thrown in that situation.
Rashad?
It's really hard to say, and
it's so hard to say.
It's so hard to say because Dustin was catching Eddie pretty clean, and he almost had him out a few times. You know what I'm saying? But then Eddie did show that he had that dog in him, and he was going to keep biting back and keep going. And then Dustin showed that he will relent to it, that he will give in to whatever the flow that Eddie can come back with. So it all depends on how that round was going to actually end and what Dustin's going to look like going back to the corner. And I think that would have gave a better prediction of what was going to happen the next round.
Right. Man, the rematch is going to be great.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to it.
It should be the main event.
Wait, is it set already?
No, but it should be the main event somewhere. They should both
only if it's a fight night. I mean, it's
pay-per-view. Fight night.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view main event's going to be a title
But
fight.
with the way it went, I think that's a great hype for a free fight night.
I think so too,
FS1.
because I mean, after the fight, they were like very respectful, but then afterwards, then it starts the whole the trash talking.
Appealing, and then I'm not appealing.
So Rashad, your last fight, I was at your last fight.
Oh yeah.
I was there. I had money on you. And by the way, I shouldn't have told you I had money. I'm like, man, that's fucking...
People always do that shit. Hey, I got money on you. Don't fuck up.
Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it.
Why don't you go in
more
there?
pressure?
No, I told him...
Nobody has more money on it than I do.
Right?
Why don't you go in there and fight for me? You can get your money back.
I think I told you afterwards, but I think I was trying to say I believed in you, and I still believe in you, and I still think you won that fight.
Yeah,
It was close.
It was close, and it was closer than it should have been, honestly. For me, I just didn't. I didn't get started soon enough, and it's a weird thing because I've been fighting for a long time, but my inconsistency in the cage, it has come back to bite me in the butt. Meaning the fact that when I get out there, I'm still like, okay, I'm getting used to it, getting used to the feel. And the biggest thing when you're successful and you're finding your flow in fighting is to make it feel as if like this is where you train, this is where you live, breathe, and sleep at, and you don't feel any difference. When you start feeling like, okay, I'm in the cage, and you're giving a narration to yourself, and you're like, okay, any minute now, I'm gonna start fighting. Like I remember thinking in the first couple rounds, like the first round, like, all right, okay, I'm getting into it. I see this, and I got this, and be patient, it's gonna happen. Be patient, it's gonna happen. And like the whole round was over, and I'm just like, all right, let's kick it in, and it just didn't. It didn't click over until like maybe midway through the second or third round.
The fight before that was against Glover, right?
Yeah.
Now, he hit you a couple times, Dan, hard, but you weren't rocked.
Right.
Were you rocked at all, or?
What's that one, Dan?
It's Dan. I guess Dan.
No.
Now, were you nervous about was that Glover fight still in your head at all?
No. Well, every single time you fight and you're like people always ask me, how was it when you first walked into the octagon from the very first UFC fight? And it was a lot easier than it is now. and it's a lot easier than it is now because now I have a lot of experience and a lot of points of reference where things went really good for me and things were really bad for me. So it all depends on which one of those evils is going to give into, which one of those feelings I'm going to give into the night of the fight. Sometimes I'm uber confident. I'm like, yeah, I'm flowing like I did when I, won the belt. But then some nights I'm like, man, I'm feeling like I did when I got knocked out. And it's something that you try not to think about or even to put in your mind, but sometimes it's just a feeling, and it takes having good people around you to be able to snap you out of it. Like, hey, let's get it. That's why I like to have a nice routine, because if I have a good routine, then it stops me from thinking so much.
So Yves, you're working Rashad's corner. I know you're ATT, and he's
he don't got to be ATT.
Okay,
you know what? I've been trying to talk to this guy for a long time about this whole ATT black thing.
Care. I was like,
I know, I'm just being funny.
Michael is one of my boys. I like Michael.
Okay, so you're in Rashad's corner of that fight, and you see he's having a tough time getting going. What are you telling him?
Especially from what he just said, and I've learned this after not doing it anymore. Because there are those times when you're in there and you think about past events and you think about successes and failures, but like everybody says this, but being in the moment is the most important thing in a fight. You can't think about the past, you can't think about the future, you can't think about anything else but right now. And in those like especially in the grappling and the wrestling exchanges, it's a lot easier to be in the moment. It's when you're exchanging striking is when you can think of a lot of other things, because when you're in grappling exchanges, you're like, well, he's trying to go here, so you have to address those things. But in striking, you're thinking, okay, how am I going to get inside? Let me see what he does with this jab, or when I throw this, and then there's also the times when you don't necessarily want to jump in and get hit, right? But that's where you have to just be in the moment, kind of let your conscious self back up and just let your instincts take over, and your conscious self is just like, no, not that one, or not that. Just
so what
have
do you
that
tell?
person
But,
jump it in.
telling someone be in the moment is a really hard thing to do.
No, but here's how you tell somebody to be in a moment if you're coaching them and you know their style. You make it very, very simple for them.
Yep.
If I'm cornering a guy and I see that he's having a block and he's just not doing what we trained at all, I'll tell him to do one or two things to do in the corner. I'll have him repeat it back to me. So I'll say, if I know, like for instance, if I know that he is a good wrestler, and I know if he starts wrestling, he's going to start to click into what he does. So I would say, jab and then shot, jab, shot. All I want you to do is work on pumping that jab and take a shot, the transition, jab, shot. That's all I want you to do for this next round. That's all I want you to do. And then eventually he's going to look just for the jab and then the shot, but he's going to be present, only looking for those two things, not worried about everything else. And, watch out. I'm telling you two things, jab and then shot. And then once he does jab and shot and he has success, then he'll start opening up and he'll get in a moment. And then
one of the best Rashads I ever saw was when you fought Chael. I mean, you just beat the shit out of Chael Sonnen.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
I mean, you just took him
I've already
down.
knocked out fucking Chocolate.
That was a good
But the
one.
Chael one was like vintage ground and pound. And I was hoping that you would do that with Dan, but you didn't. Was the judo throwing you off? Was his judo? Guys.
No, the thing with Dan is that his judo wasn't throwing it off. I just got lazy and just wasn't committing to the takedown. I got the takedown in the first round. I got it pretty easy, but I didn't go back, and I didn't go back because I had success with something, and having success with something sometimes can be a big block as well too. I caught him with an uppercut, and I'm like, ooh, I can get him up out of here with an uppercut. So then that's all I wanted. That's all I was seeing was the uppercut, and then I seen a body kick, and I seen the kick, but I was like, I see the uppercut the most. And then when I got stuck on only looking for the uppercut, I immediately took my ability to take him down away.
Now, Smiling Sam is one of the most awkward fighters out there.
Super awkward.
Nobody's looked good against this guy. You can beat him, but it's just like he's always dangerous. He's got fucking power in his hands.
Yeah.
But he's slow, but he's one of those dudes that just finds ways to win. Are we bringing people in to kind of emulate what he's going to do, or are we just
I'm gonna try to as much as I can, but I mean, when somebody is as awkward as he is, there really is no substitute for it. And,
So,
and
what are you
that's,
telling Rashad in the Smile and Sam fight?
Well, with Sam Alvey, I mean, Sam's got big punches. You know, I think with Daniel Kelly, I would have wanted to see Rashad be a little more loose with his hands. With Sam Alvey, I think stay loose with your hands, but use that to transition. You know, use that to transition. And Sam Alvey has a good takedown defense in those transitions when you feel like it's too much work to continue for the takedown. Transition back to just beating him up.
Yeah.
You know, just make it as easy for yourself as possible, and use your wrestling to set all of that up.
See, that's the thing that I think that I've been doing wrong. I feel like I've been just making this a lot more complex than it has to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day,
But you've also had some outside shit going on. I mean,
I got
the Black Zillions, and then having your own fight team, and then like having to go everywhere and be everyone else's coach,
and that's probably been one of the biggest problems that I had, because when the team first started, it wasn't about making a team. It was about having a team around me and what I needed, and that's the reason why I left Jackson's, because of the whole situation with John Jones, and I'm like, I'm never going to create that situation again. So I just want a team just dedicated to helping me get to where I want to be and where I could be. And it was like that, but then after a while everyone came, and then everyone, you know, different weight class and everything, and then the team emerged. But with that whole situation, I ended up carrying a lot of responsibility of just making sure that everyone stayed together and making, you know, people come to me. They come to me, they lean on me, they depend on me for guidance, and I found myself just giving so much of myself that I didn't really have anything left for me. Absolutely.
Now, Anthony Johnson says he's going to open up a marijuana shop. And I wrote the joke that, like, yeah, that, you know, it hits really strong in the beginning, and then you get tired after 5 minutes. But is that have you talked to Anthony Johnson about this?
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
How's he? Is he gonna come back? Please tell me he's coming back.
He'll say no, but I guarantee he probably comes back within a year at heavyweight.
Heavyweight.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he misses it. He's gonna miss it.
Fuck, man! I already knocked out all the 205ers.
Yeah.
Might as well go up one more.
He's gonna miss it too much to stay away.
So,
yeah.
The thing about Anthony Johnson that throws me, man, was when we were filming that movie Warrior, and he was fighting at 170 pounds.
Right, he was small.
We spent that whole summer together. We spent 5 weeks together. Him, myself, Nate Marquardt. We trained a couple of. We didn't really do a whole lot of work on the film, so we were training probably like 3 or 4 days out of the week. And yeah, he hit me a couple of times back then. It's like, yeah, this guy's powerful. Of course, we were in pads, 16s, and all those things. But it's like I couldn't imagine being hit by him now, man. He was big then. He's so much of a bigger guy now.
Yeah, I think all off of gummy bears too.
I think big is an understatement for what Rumble was, because I mean, even I was at his fight against Yoshida, and I think that was UFC 104, so it was many years ago, like 2009, and he's cutting to 170. And it's just like, what the fuck? And he walks in there and he kills that guy, and then the whole like weight thing happened, and then he found his spot. I watched him against Arlovsky in WSOF at heavyweight, and I'm like, yeah, this dude's a monster. And I wouldn't want to fight him if I was Tim Sylvia at 400 pounds.
I mean, now, do you think, like, with that guy, it's just, like, what do you think? Cormier has his number, or you think it's just mental?
It's definitely mental, you know. But Anthony, he was going through a lot going into that fight, you know, and he'll never say it, but he was going through a lot just going into that fight.
The rematch,
yeah. I mean, Henry Hooft and Neil Melanson and you know, there's the Henry squad, and then there's the Black Zillions, which is, you know, I guess still technically under Glenn Robinson and Neil Melanson and those guys. So Anthony wanted to use both those coaches. Neil hates Henry. Henry don't really care for Neil. They both feel the same about each other, and it caused him some kind of confusion because he wanted his team to work together. I mean, you know, Neil and Henry, divided, man. Yeah, house divided already. You know, Neil didn't go to any of his sparring or watch him, you know, train when he went over to Combat Club because Henry was there, and Henry didn't go to Black Zillions and watch him doing his grappling because.
But they're all taking his money. You know,
and that's the thing about it. When you hire someone for a job, and that is probably my biggest problem with a lot of these MMA coaches is that they seem to forget who works for who. If I hire you for a job and I'm going to pay you afterwards, then you're my employee and you should act as so.
I mean, and work it out. This guy is going to be could be the champion of the world, and how much great would that be for your gym, for you?
It's pride. It's pride and it's ego, and it's about them not making it about who it should have been, and that was it bothered me. It bothered me a lot, and even after the fight was over, when Henry walked off, he was very disappointed at Anthony, and I can understand that. But at the same time, it is this guy's, his last fight, and if he wants you to stand there, then you stand there. But, the reason why he didn't stay there is the same reason why you couldn't bring him and Neil together.
Right.
The ego.
And then on top of that, there's something about that, a fighter, not just a guy like Anthony, all fighters. I mean, when you have a coach, that person is important to you. When the guy, especially in the UFC, the guys that you want next to the cage, you want talking to you in between rounds, those people are important to you. They're just not people that you bring in there on a whim, and you want them to be proud. You want them to feel good too at the end of the night. And you fight sometimes, like if the house is divided, like he's saying it is, we all like, why is Rumble trying to take DC down? There could be some, maybe Neil's not, he doesn't feel important to me and I want him to feel, or whatever. There's all these different
mindsets,
little things that could be in there that he don't need to be dealing with, because he's fighting the best guy in the world.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it. It's like, when you have a corner and they're there for you, there has to be some kind of idea of a complete game plan, and we got to come and sit down together, like, okay, listen, we're going to watch this fight together, all the components of his corner, and as a grappling coach, I'm going to tell you what I think, and you tell me what you think as a striking coach, and as a wrestling coach, you tell me what you think, and we're going to come together and devise a concrete plan for, if this happens, we go plan A, plan B, and plan C, and this is, so that way our fighter doesn't feel lost. But then they get mad at him when he's under stress, and then he's not fighting the way that they train. But how could you get mad at him when you guys didn't prepare him together?
The Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines, those guys don't really like each other. But when it's time for war, they got to come together.
That's a great analogy. And the thing about Anthony Johnson is that, I don't think he sees himself like everyone sees him. Like he's one of those guys where it's like, it's like that hot chick who's a fucking 10, but looks in the mirror and sees an ugly chick. No, you're perfect. And that seems like Anthony Johnson. Like, he needs you to talk to him as if he needs encouragement. And, he doesn't need like a broken home. So.
That's absolutely, And that's the thing that I noticed about Anthony when he's with his squad and he feels like everyone is there and he fights, he'll put on a good show. He'll fight the way he can fight. But if he feels a little bit of bad energy, then it'll get in his head a bit.
That sucks. Well, we're going to call a guy right now, undefeated fighter, Shorty Torres. You guys know Shorty Torres?
Nah, who's Shorty?
Jose Torres. Shorty Torres. Titan FC.
Flyweight champ.
You sound familiar.
He was 25-1. Hey, is this Jose Shorty Torres?
Yes, sir.
You're on the MMA Roasted podcast. You're with Rashad Evans and Yves Edwards, CB Gold. How are you, man?
I'm great, man. I can't complain. How about you guys?
We're doing great, man. You're on top of the world. You're a 2-division champion for Titan.
So far I'm on top of the world, but I mean, I've been trying to do so much to get the attention of one person, and that's Dana White, and I haven't got the attention yet.
Well, all you just got to keep on winning. That's it. Winning solves everything, and you're doing the right thing. So just keep winning and keep pumping yourself up and get a following, and they'll take notice.
I mean, you're the Titan FC champion. Has Dana, have you tweeted at him? Have you tweeted Sean Shelby at all, or?
Yeah, I've tweeted them. I've tagged them in photos. I've even made like little memes to have people share it, have some fun, have some laughs. But I haven't received anything. They go, hey man, we want to see you come back from adversity. Well, I won a 5-round war before I called Sharp off, breaking my hand and turning my MCL in the first round. And I mean, the next 4 rounds were pretty much a higher pace that I set, and I was able to get the win. And it's one of those things that at only 5 fights, the guys I've beaten had a record of 50-19, And it's one of those things that, again, no one has done what I've done at 5-0. So I just would think that somebody would be calling me up. That's all.
Shorty, if they want you to come back from adversity and you can't seem to find anyone that can challenge you outside of the octagon, then you tell them to bring you in. You tell them to bring you in so you can have some adversity. If the only guys in the world could possibly beat you are in the octagon, then let's see you up against those guys.
I mean, yeah, I mean you're 5-0. But you as an amateur you were 25-1. So you were ranked number 1 in the world as an amateur. So it's not like you just you have no experience. You just beat Farkad Sharipov. You beat Pedro Nobre, Abdiel Velasquez, Ronaldo, Walter Duarte, Travis Taylor. You're 125. I think that might be the issue. Also, is the 125. It seems like Demetrius Johnson is not their big money maker, and that if you were 170 and you were beating everybody up, maybe they'd be a little bit more. No,
I mean, I think also, but he has a good play in there because at 125 it is kind of it's thin, and Demetrius Johnson really doesn't have a lot of competition that he hasn't beat up on yet. So, he definitely has a in. It's just a matter of having the right people get behind him and push him. I mean, he's pushing and he's kind of tagging these people, but whoever his manager is and whatever their relationships were to the matchmaker, Sean Shelby and those guys, that'll get him in there a lot faster.
All right. So who's your next fight against, Shorty?
I don't know. I'm hoping for somebody in the UFC. Like they said, I've accomplished everything there is to accomplish for Titan FC. And no disrespect to anybody in my division, both at flyweight and bantamweight, but there are no names or nothing that's worth promoting well. And that, at least in my eyes, nothing that's a main event. For me, again, I haven't faced adversity yet through Titan FC, and I want to be able to do that in the UFC. Again, there's nothing else for me to accomplish. So me just getting fights for Titan FC, I'm not saying it's not worth it, because yes, I have to get the numbers and I understand that, but it's not as desirable for me. When I'm fighting for the flyweight championship and I'm fighting for the bantamweight championship, making history, it gives me the urge to keep on train harder and just keep on pushing forward, compared to now I'm fighting guys that are trying to beat me, which is fine, but there's no name, there's no background. I've already beaten the best of the best, so I'm just fighting guys along the way until I get to call up.
Well, I know what's his name went to the WSOF, which is now the Premier Fight League. He was kind of having the same issue. Andre Harrison, Dre the Bull, he was a Titan FC champion. People weren't giving him looks, so he went to the Premier Fight League. Is that something that you might be interested in doing, going to Bellator or going to PFC?
I don't know. For Bellator, they don't have a flyweight division, and I do believe flyweight is my division, at least in my youthful years. But for me, Titan FC has done so much for me, and I want to be loyal to my promotion. Given regardless I'm on contract or not, they've done the best possible thing for me. Allowed me to create history, and for them, they are a UFC feeder program, and that's a promotion I'm really looking forward to.
Have you gotten any pussy out of it, or no?
None whatsoever.
Really?
Dude, no one likes flyweights. No one likes flyweights. No one likes a small guy.
There's no chicks at these. I'm in Florida. None of these Cuban girls. They come to the shows and nothing.
Everyone wants a 155 or higher.
Fuck, man. Damn.
It's like you got to be 5. It's like you got to be 5'7" or taller just to talk to them.
Damn. Rashad, any advice on this?
I mean,
think big.
If you can make them laugh, that's all it's about. If you make a girl laugh, it doesn't matter how big you are. You can have a little penis, you can be short, you can be ugly, but if you can make them laugh, then you got it.
I mean, Adam's getting married.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, I always tell them, you want to know why they call me Shorty? There you go.
Because you have a small penis? That sounds like a horrible idea.
Why would you reveal that to us?
That's terrible.
Hopefully it's a surprise. If not, at least I'm telling the truth.
All right, first of all.
Not a good surprise.
This is awful. All right. For now on, there's definitely, maybe that's why you're not in the UFC. You got to be like, maybe you should.
You need to tell people you're double weight.
Shorty, you need to change.
I got to be a certain length to be in the UFC. I'm just too far.
You need to change your nickname from Shorty and then just tell the girls your nickname is 3 Legs.
3 Leg. There we go. Yeah, 3
Hung
legs.
Low.
Hung Low or like Girthman or something. Yeah, Kickstand or I don't know.
Shorty Low.
Guy who likes to eat vagina. Well, I hear you, man. Listen, hang in there, Shorty. You're killing everybody. So when is that? So you have 2 belts now? Do you actually have the belts?
Yeah, I have 1 belt. They're custom making the other one, so it'll probably take about a month or so.
Nice. Now, are you thinking about maybe going to 45 and getting that belt too?
Definitely not right now. I know 35 is already pushing my limit. I'd like to do 45 just for the fun of it, but in this sport, longevity is a huge thing, and I want to be as safe as possible. So 125 and 35 is my thing.
Rashad, didn't you commentate on a Titan FC card? Weren't you?
No, that's Usman.
Usman.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, so Shorty, have you been paying attention what's going on with Demetrius Johnson and his fight with TJ Dillashaw that the UFC supposedly wanted him to do, and he came back and said that they said they'll collapse the division if he didn't fight TJ?
Yeah, and it's again, they're bullying him, and it sucks because this is not the first time we've heard of the UFC disrespecting athletes, mainly, people who are veterans in the sport and who help create certain divisions. So it really sucks to see, but you see in the flyweight division, the youth are really trying to shine out, right? Borg, Sergio Pettis, Brandon Moreno, all these guys. So I'm hoping, I'm one of those newcomers that come in and be able to bring more excitement to the division. Because again, Demetrius Johnson's the best in the world. I do believe that, and it's just the UFC. No one likes to watch small guys fight.
You seem very happy. You seem like you're
promoting well enough.
Listen, man, Shorty, you're doing everything right, man. You had a great amateur career. You were the best in the world as an amateur, and you're undefeated as a pro. It's only a matter of time. Are you making good money, or do you have to have a side job?
So far, because I was part of the KHK team with Sheikh Khalid in Bahrain. He funded me for a year, so that money is pretty much all saved up. So I'm just trying my best to work my savings properly. But if I didn't have KHK MMA for that 1 year, I'd definitely be working a job right now.
So you were on Frankie Edgar's team?
Yeah, I was on Frankie Edgar, Khabib Nurmagomedov, I was on Makhachev, a lot more.
Now, who do you think wins, by the way, Frankie or Max Holloway?
Frankie. Dude, Frankie's movement's ridiculous, and Max Holloway was getting pieced apart. I just think, personally, Aldo got caught in that fight because he was winning that fight and he was doing pretty well. Given his gas was slowly starting to fade away, but he was still controlling that fight. I think Frankie Edgar moves too much from Max Holloway, and that's going to be Max Hollowow's demise in that fight.
I don't know, man. I kind of agree with him. I kind of think Frankie might beat Max Holloway. He's just a grinder, and he's got better boxing, and he's. You guys don't think you guys aren't.
I mean, I'm biased in it.
Why are you so biased?
Because I train with Frankie, so that's why.
Oh, so you think Frankie's gonna win?
I think so.
I think he. I mean, look what he did to that other kid.
Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah,
I think that's the best fight that hasn't happened in that division.
Frankie versus Holloway.
Frankie and Holloway.
Yeah, right now.
Cub wants the rematch, but dude, Holloway Edgar. It's beautiful for that.
I hate
division.
to say it because Holloway's been on our show before, and I'm friends with him, and he's a nice guy.
Frankie.
But Frankie's been to my comedy show, so I got to go with.
Here we go again with the biased opinions of Adam Hunter. You've been on our show, but you came to my show. So fuck you.
Frankie wished me a happy birthday. Holloway didn't give me a happy birthday.
This sounds like Talladega Nights. Chew Big Red or fuck you.
But Holloway's wife texted me, watched my TV show last year, so I don't know. I like the Hawaiian, but Frankie just seems like. That wasn't the same Aldo that fought Frankie.
But it was not the same Aldo because of Max, or just because he's getting old?
He was gassed.
Who, Aldo?
Aldo was gassed.
I think
quickly.
Conor broke him, and that was kind of the end.
No, I don't think any of that. You know what I think it was more than anything. I think it was just Max Holloway. I don't think it was anything against Jose Aldo. I think just when the stylistically. He was doing everything that he was doing before, except for he wasn't finishing with leg kicks. But at the same time, he still had great rhythm with his hands. He was catching Max.
Almost finished him.
Yeah, he was catching him pretty good. But Max did something that a lot of guys really don't do with Jose. And is after Jose explodes and throw a powerful combination, he didn't get a chance to reset. Max Holloway kept the pressure
right
on
in
him.
his face.
So that's that. So when you're an explosive puncher like Jose Aldo shooting combinations, you need a second, just for your rhythm. Ba-da-bop, reset. Ba-da-bop, and reset. But Max didn't let him get that space. Max kept the pressure on, then pretty soon it cut into his gas tank, and he was able to catch him with some of those punches.
Yeah, and if you watch the fight, if you notice in the first round, you look at their foot position, look at the distance between their feet in the first round towards the end of the second round. Max is so much closer to him. He's standing inside his range, takes away a lot of the kicks because a guy with the range of Max Holloway, when Jose fires those leg kicks, it's much harder to defend punches when you're on one leg.
Who do you think wins, Frankie or Max?
Frankie's style is very hard to beat, man. I would like to see Max hold on to that belt for a while, but I think Frankie should be the favorite going into that. I want Max to win, but I think Frankie does.
Why do you want Max to win?
I like Max. I mean, Frankie's had some time as a champion. I like Frankie too, but I want to see what Max can do with the rest of the division also. I mean, Frankie is the toughest guy in the division outside of Jose, but I want to see what Max does as a champion. I want to see a title run. I want to see a title reign. I'm sorry.
Hey Torres, I know this isn't your style, right? But why don't you start calling out people in the top 10 at 125 in the UFC and tagging them? I'll retweet it, and we'll get some shit going. Because, like, calling out the matchmaker isn't seem to be working for you. But how about calling out Tim Elliott? How about calling out Pettis? How about calling out Demetrius Johnson? People will tell you that you're full of shit and that slow down and blah, 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 but you'll make some noise.
That's definitely true. It's like you said, it's not my style. I'd rather call out the whole division and know I could beat them all. Hell, I called out Ian McCall when he had his opponent back out, but Nick Maynard pretty much told me, hey, man, we don't want you right now.
So
it's like, cool. All right.
So spend the rest of the day calling out everybody and being funny about it. Be like, hey, Tim Elliott, I heard you fuck sheep or something, or like, or just
out of control.
Just going after people. Hey, Sergio Pettis, what's it like being under Anthony's nutsack? I mean, just really, really go after people, and then you got to be funny though. You got to be like, hey, Demetrius Johnson, I'll finish you in under 1 minute. Just talk mad shit. People will think you're crazy, but you'll make noise, and then they'll give you a shot.
Just call out Sage Northcutt. Fuck it.
Yeah, call out Mark Hunt.
Fuck it.
Call out Rashad Evans.
I'm just going to say I'll move every weight class. I don't care. 25 and move on up.
Seriously, man.
You're going to fight at money weight?
Call out the girls.
I'll fight.
Yeah, call out Megan Anderson.
I'll fight for the women's flyweight championship. Whoever wins it, I call next.
Yeah, do it, man.
Oh, are you on the Ultimate Fighter next season? Should we look out for that?
Yeah.
Me? I maybe. You never know.
Yeah.
Hint.
Well, listen, Shorty, hang in there, brother. Thanks for being on the podcast. Whatever you need, man, we got you, okay?
I appreciate it, guys. Y'all take care of yourself.
Thanks, man. Take care. Man, Shorty Torres, it's kind of a tough position that he's in right now.
I really didn't want to have to tell him that I don't want to leave voicemails for him, like threatening other fighters. So he needs to step up his
Shorty
game.
messed up already when he said the UFC bullying Demetrius.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not a good start for what.
But it's not really bullying. I don't see it as bullying. Bullying. Let's keep bullying what it is.
Right.
Bullying is like fucking, giving some kid a wedgie or making someone life's miserable or calling someone this. Bullying is not saying you have to fight. You should
not leveraging your position as a boss.
No, here's what I see. I see kind of both sides. I see what Demetrius is saying, but I also see as a promotion company what the UFC is saying. Now listen, you have a guy, one of the best ever in Demetrius Johnson. But the hard part about selling Demetrius Johnson is that nobody's really paying attention to the weight class. So why not make a super fight to make it more exciting? And that's probably what the UFC was thinking. Like, listen, if we're gonna, because that's what makes the fight make fights exciting. Okay, let's put one former champion against another champion, 2 different weight classes, and that's exciting. That's exciting. That's what people want to see.
Unlike the other,
but on the other side, it's like, wait a minute, I paid my dues here and I fought the best of the best in my weight class. And now
you also got his coach. I think I was on a plane with those guys, Hume and Johnson, and they were like, "Yeah, fuck going up. Let them come to me. I'm the best. Why should I have to fight guys heavier than me?"
That's what Ron always said.
Would TJ go down to him, or was he going to?
TJ wants to go down.
TJ will go down.
Now, if TJ goes down.
Yeah, I mean, if TJ goes down and he's the next champ, then it is what it is.
He's the same weight.
Yeah.
And why shouldn't TJ get the #1 spot?
Demetrius wants $2 million for the fight.
$2 million?
He's been saying that for years. When TJ won the belt,
you know what,
he said,
Pokemon cards?
I'll fight TJ, but I want $2 million.
How is that not going to? What are they going to do? Put the NASCAR?
They laughed at him.
In the middle of a NASCAR event? Who's going to go pay?
couldn't sell 2 million pay-per-views.
Yeah, he's not going to pay.
They're not going to pay. That's why this whole thing is like, there's still other flyweights out in the world that they need to.
If Demetrius can go to like Ryzen and get $2 million, I'd say go to Ryzen.
Horiguchi went.
He's not going to get that from the UFC.
Listen. I think with TJ, with DJ Demetrius, he's one of the best ever in the sport. Ever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, and And it's got to be frustrating when you have the body of work, of accomplishments as he has, to not be getting the money that you see some of these athletes get. And that's the hard part about being him. But another part to that is that, okay, if my record and what I've done is not going to impress you people, so what next? What next is?
I see both. I see exactly right. Number one, all fighters are underpaid across the board. Okay, there's no reason why we had Tim Johnson on the show should be an Uber driver when he's ranked number 10th in the world at heavyweight. That's insane. And he's also a strip club manager. Like, what's going on here? Everybody should at least, you're in the UFC, you should get $100,000 minimum per fight. Your first fight in there. If it was up to me.
My first UFC fight, I got $4,000.
$4,000, right? Well, now if you fought, it would be $5,000. So,
we're talking about 2001 also.
I know. But as a comedian, okay, I understand. Do I put on a better show than Steve-O? I'm sorry, okay, I'm saying Steve-O. I think I do. People say, hey, man, I laughed 100 times more when I saw you than when I saw insert comic there. But is Steve-O getting $20,000 a weekend or some number like that? And am I getting a lot less than that? Yes, because Steve-O puts asses in the seats.
Right.
And in the end, it's a business. So it's about who puts ass in the seats versus and who tunes in when you fight.
Well, and that's the hardest thing about.
But my counter to that is Sage Northcutt.
People, you're right. It's bullshit. That's completely because that's them betting on this guy's going to.
They're hedging their bets on the fact that he's going to be something. But I mean, I get it, and that's the beautiful problem that we have in MMA is the fact that we have this sport where we're trying to make it a sport and create, legitimate people in line to fight for championships. But then you have this other side of it, which is the entertainment part where you want to make it interesting for these people to watch, especially when you throw on the number of shows that the UFC throws as an organization. It's very hard for a casual fan to keep up because there's so many different events. So without having these big blockbuster fights to landmark these different UFC cards, then you're not going to get, many asses in the seats. Because
I think that's what you do with a guy like Demetrius Johnson. I mean, that's what they've done to build the women's division, especially since Ronda has fallen off. They take the women and they put them in these positions on these cards where, like Joanna and Andrade, you put them as the co-main on the heavyweight title fight. They put these fights in those positions, and they've done it before with DJ, but they don't do it consistently with him.
But the problem is that's what Bellator tries to do when they have like Chael versus Vanderlei now, and then they'll throw on, let's say, the kid from the national champion, who Ed Rose, one of those guys, or no, what's his name? Yeah, you can put the air on. No, the kid that's really good. That was Caldwell, Darion Caldwell. You put him on undercard, and people. The problem is it's short. It's very short-sighted. That's going from event to event to event. Yeah. Versus like long term, you put the best fighters on, whether they're draws or not. Eventually, people will in it. It's like, okay, the Lakers would probably outsell the Boston Celtics as far as views go. But if the Celtics make the playoffs, and the Lakers don't, you're not putting the Lakers in the playoffs. The UFC is doing that. They're putting people in spots where they shouldn't be because they're trying to get people to tune in. But it's short-sighted because then you get shitty cards or you get main events that are like, what the fuck was that? And that's the problem with Bellator. When you have Tito versus Chael 10 years past their primes, and then you get a main event where he taps out to, a wrong side arm and guillotine, whatever the hell that was, that's an issue. And then people don't take it seriously. So I think in the long term, you have to maybe, if Khabib is the best guy in the division, if Yoel Romero is the best guy in the division, if Damian Maia is the best guy in the division, as much as it sucks to have those guys be the main events, if they're the best, you got to put them in the main event.
Well, I think a big problem also is the fact that, DJ is a victim. Demetrius is a victim of his own success, and the fact that there's really not the competition in the weight class for him. So I think that's a bigger part of why people just don't like. He hasn't had that blow up status yet because there hasn't been that one landmark fight where you're just like, dang, this dude was in a dog fight and he came out and there was Like
Well, it's a creepy fight and the
but it's
John
not
Austin
that
fight. Or,
it's not that back like it's not that competitiveness. And then if you're
it's not Rory versus Lawler.
Right, but I mean, yeah, and then like even if you do like, you could say, okay, well, Rashad, there was Anderson Silva, there was John Jones, where they were just so dominant in a weight class. But then at the same time, you looked at those athletes and you're like, wow, you're impressed with something. They're big. You know what I'm saying? There's something to be impressed about other than.
But the thing is also, I think to build a division, I mean, they did that with Ronda. You know, she was dominant in that division until Holly came along, because like most of the women in that division, they weren't competing.
They weren't athletes
as long as she has in her. Right. You know.
By the way, you told me that no one was going to beat Holly. Yeah, I remember.
And honestly, yeah, I you know, I didn't think that no one was going to beat her, but I mean, her last few fights, you know, she left it close, but you know, she's still. I have nothing to say.
She's going to kill Beth Kahea, though.
That's
not going to be close.
She's going to go down. Where are they fighting?
I think she's going to kill Beth
Singapore.
Kahea. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be. I think, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a different level of athlete with the two of those, you know.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought that Holly won her last fight with Jermaine.
Now let's talk about.
I didn't see it. I was in the hospital. Like I missed all these fights because I'm at the hospital with Dustin.
Now let's talk about some of the fights last week. Claudia Gadelha ran through.
Dude.
Kovacevic.
Yeah.
Kovacevic.
Now I think you know what I think. Number one, not to take anything against like that girl, but you know how like sometimes when earlier on in the UFC, if a guy had a home field advantage and everybody was going crazy, that dude just steamrolled that person. Because you had the whole Brazil behind you, or the whole this or that behind you. It seems like women's MMA is not caught up to men's MMA. And that girl who went to Brazil did not know how to deal with everything around her, as well as Claudia, how good Claudia fought.
Well, I mean, that girl is notorious. Like, she's always has that demeanor, and I think it makes her good. And sometimes, I mean, when you watch her before the fight, she's the most relaxed I ever seen inside a cage ever.
She'll murder your fucking face.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, could you imagine her as like your girlfriend or something? You cannot tell her mood if she's mad at you or not. That's dangerous, right? That's some scary shit.
Carolina?
Yeah,
that's some scary shit. You see her against the cage, no expression at all, just fucking just smiling and just like
you wouldn't know you're in trouble.
You would not even know until you fucking like wake up dead.
Right, that's true.
She will kill you.
Have you ever had a chick like that? No expression during sex?
No, I never had. Wait. I can't remember. I was gonna say something
that like always had resting bitch face, and then we got into a fight. We got into a fight one time.
You need to work harder.
And she never wore underwear. This girl never wore underwear. We were in Vegas, and she was yelling at me. And then, first of all, we used to go to clubs, and she would wear nothing at these fucking clubs. So every guy would hit on her, and I'd have to be like, back off, back off.
Well, first of all, you didn't do back off, back off. You probably just like act like you didn't see it.
Exactly. Okay, so pretty much, I fucking backed off.
Well, fuck, I guess I lost this one tonight.
I was like, I was telling her to back off. Back off, get in the fucking car.
I got that porn loaded at home.
Act like fucking Tommy Tough Guy over here.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty. So then we're like fighting a time, we're arguing. Like I remember in Vegas, and she's wearing no underwear and or no panties, and then like spread her legs, and I'm like, listen, honestly, I can't listen to you while your vagina's staring right at me. And she got like angry and crossed her legs at me, but I remember that happened. So,
but wait, how was she born then? That's pretty exciting shit though.
But she was a stripper. She was a stripper, but she just had like.
Yo, strippers are the worst.
They're not like dead inside. This girl.
They're not everything they're cracked up to be.
Some are.
My most recent ex was a stripper, and it was the most boring sex I've ever had in my life.
Ever. It's the worst. It's the most disappointing thing ever.
Some are good. No, it's not true. Not across the board.
I heard. I never did.
I'll never forget. There was a stripper who was on Rock of Love, that show with Bret Michaels from Poison, and she was
which one?
She was tatted up and fake tits. A little racist, but I was like, I just pretended that I didn't hear it. She was hot enough where I was like, fuck it, I don't care. All right, so then I wasn't in it for the long term.
Pretty racist.
And
that shit is funny.
And she just lay there during sex and was like, ow, ow, and complained the whole fucking time. I was so disappointed. That was
terrible.
Yeah, I was awful. But
that's when you have to drop that N-word dick on her.
No, I dropped it, but it was yeah. She was complaining, but then I don't know. I was thinking about like the first girl ever. Who's the first girl you ever slept with? How old were you?
17.
You were into the mic, by the way. Okay, so
17.
You're 17.
You were 17.
Me too.
What was
You were 17?
How old were you? 11?
8.
Nah, I was actually 15.
Oh,
He got
15, wow.
a handy at 9 years old.
Was it during February because it was black? No. So you were 15
She
years
was
old.
history
Yeah, I was
after that.
15.
And who was the girl?
Just some one of the girls in the crew that we used to hang out with.
Okay, and you were
Yeah.
like the high school.
But like everybody thought that I had sex way before I did, and I was always playing it off like I did. And then like I got called out a couple times, and I didn't know a few things that people who have sex know.
Like what?
Like I don't like how to do it properly. Like like you ever hear somebody who is not like the way they are, but then try to profess it,
Yeah,
but then you
yeah.
can tell they're lying. Well, that happened to me a couple times, and
Okay.
yeah, I got called out. So then I had to do it, and this girl was like experienced, like she was experienced. So then like she knew. I kind of told her that it was my first time, even though.
Oh no.
Yeah. So then she like coached me through it.
She coached you?
Yeah, coached me through it.
Was she like
Coached me
head
through it.
movement? Like
she was like,
It wasn't
like,
Edmund.
Oh, yeah.
nah, she coached me through it. Like, okay, calm down, relax, just it's okay. It's like this.
breathe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was
Find
like
your
two,
water.
Hey,
That
Doesn't go in there.
hey, two pumps later, I'm out of there.
No way.
I'm out of there. It was quick. It was
you
quick.
condom or no?
Yeah. I use a condom.
Why?
Like 4.
Because there's
Because
PSAs on television
I
all the
was
time.
scared. I
Yeah,
was
exactly.
different, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's
smart man,
Did you seduce
Rashad.
her with Rashad's MMA love songs?
That was the best, by the way. Okay. So, and then Eve, you were in the Bahamas.
No, I was here in Texas. I was in the U.S. I was in Texas.
You were in Texas. A
He
white
was on
girl,
his way
black
to a
girl,
fight.
No, Latino girl.
Latino girl. And then what happened? She took you home, and she was like, "Eve, let's do this."
I want you to make my evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Okay.
Hey, Yves is not like talking about this at all. Like he's
No,
like, yo,
that's
you gonna like I'm gonna hear about this when I go home. That's what he's giving them.
No, I'm like, you're talking about 23 years ago, man. It's a lot to remember.
No. Was it a Mexican girl or Puerto Rican or
Yeah, she was Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember one thing about Mai is that all my friends and her friends like waiting outside the door. Like it was a thing. It was terrible.
They were all listening.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
All 2 minutes of it.
That's awesome.
But the
1
girl,
minute and 45
but the
seconds
girl
of
was
him
cool because I
crying.
busted quick. But then she was like, let's just lay here for a little bit. So. They
So you don't
laugh
walk
at you.
out, no,
Yeah. So they don't laugh
It
at
didn't
you.
happen, did it?
Yeah, she gave me a cool assist on that one.
I was like almost like bullied into doing it because everyone in my I went to this boarding school in Maine with all these troubled kids, you know, like, and they all had sex at like 12, 13. And then I was there when I was 13. So everyone would be like, Adam's president of the V Club. That's what they said. I was president of the fucking V Club. And then they would hold up V's when I walked around, like, yo, Adam's a virgin. Like, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So finally, I was like, there was a girl at Kenny Rogers Chicken. I used to work at Kenny Rogers Roasters Chicken, right? That was my job. I used to cut the chicken. You would love that, right? So,
I knew that was coming. I was waiting for it.
I started off as a busboy. Then
Out
I was
of control.
Then I was a chicken cutter, right? And there was this,
Chicken cutter?
Yeah, I knew how to.
What a great
You had a scissor and you
job
like
title.
actually cut. And
But that's a great job
That's
title.
that's a fucking great job.
but you like, but it's the only problem is you smell like chicken all the fucking week. Right.
there's worse problems.
I was like, are they hiring? So
There's worse problems. Hey, listen, I like chicken. All right,
Did
shit.
you get a lot of
chicken
those?
too. Oh, chicken's amazing. So I took her back to my place, and she blew me. I got I first blowjob ever. I was 17. I came like I didn't even know that my dick could even operate that way. It was like I had never had anybody put their mouth on my dick before, you know. So it was just quick, like pooh. I was like, holy shit. And then I was like,
we do it again?
So then I laid her down on my ground on like the den, and then my housekeeper was like, "What's going on?" Right. So I was like, "Leave me alone, Sylvia." So then she was.
Rich white
She
people
was,
sex stories.
she was jealous.
My housekeeper.
So then I like
Christ.
then I went in her and I'm like, go, and then she queefed. She fucking I was doing like porn style. I took her legs and put it over her head. I was like, fuck it, like I saw in porn. I started like ramming her, and then she queefed, and I was like, was that you or me? 'Cause I didn't know that fucking girls. I did not know girls can queef. No one tells you that. Like,
no one tells you
there's
that
no
shit.
queef fucking lesson when your parents as a kid.
That never happens.
So when you have the birds and anybody listening to this, you have the birds and the bees talk with your son. Make sure you let them know about queefs.
Are you gonna tell your kid at science camp about the queef?
I might. I'm thinking about it.
If he understands physics as well as I think he does, he probably already knows.
He'll probably tell you about the queef. Man. So then I was like, I like came, I don't know, again, and then that was that, and then I just.
Did you use a condom, Adam?
No, absolutely not.
Well, white boys.
Maybe that was the only time I used a condom, but then after that, like
crazy.
2 months later, I had I was in St. Thomas, and there was a white girl from England who was like in her 40s, and I ended up banging her on the beach.
So you get points for that, old school.
Oh yeah. But up on the beach had all these like beach bugs, and it bit up my ass like the whole fucking time.
Ruined it. Just ruined it.
Yeah, but it was still. But then I went down on her, but I didn't know how to eat pussy. I thought it was like a fork. Like I didn't know. Like I literally started like just like went down there, like chomped away for 3 seconds. She's like, "Ow, you're fucking like using your teeth." And then she was like, "You need to learn how to eat pussy."
Did she tell you how to give me insight?
She didn't show you afterwards?
Yeah, I'm like, you're 40. Why don't you teach him?
Yeah, she was just like, "Don't do that ever again." I'm like, "Okay, no problem."
Not even with me, just everybody.
Now, when I was a kid, the rumor was that black people did not like to eat pussy. That was like the word on the street. But then most of my black friends are like, no, that they're
Of course,
they
you
love
gotta
it.
eat pussy.
You
have
gotta.
to. You have to. You have
Now,
to.
Anthony Johnson says he doesn't like eating black girls' pussies because he said it's not supposed to be pink on the outside and purple on the inside. No, purple on the outside and pink on the inside. That's why he likes white girls.
Oh Lord, what?
Have you ever talked to him about that?
How do you even talk to? How do you even talk to somebody about?
How does that come up in
like
conversation?
I honestly, I don't. I would be embarrassed having that conversation.
A lot of black
When you're
women.
defending this double, and so that's what you do. So anyway, that other stuff. Let's talk about eating pussy.
I got the cheeseburger.
I love black pussy. I love pussy in general. So
Yeah.
Short.
I got the cheeseburger with
you
the side of
just
fries.
gotta appreciate
but
it for what it is. You know, you gotta appreciate it for what it is.
No, absolutely.
Rashad's like Captain Kirk. He'll fuck a green bitch.
Hey,
Have you ever fucked a green bitch? No. What's the weirdest?
Well, he used to hang out
what's
with
the
GSP.
weirdest girl you've ever had sex with? Honestly, the weirdest, like the straight craziest.
I don't know.
Eve?
Hey, you
Yo.
think we're answering these questions?
No. Listen, there was a girl one time.
The weirdest,
swear to
I don't
God,
know,
The
like-
girl had her asshole fell out. Like she had a remote for her ass. I swear to God, I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the girl like
It's a robot.
No, she said something like she had like a gymnastics injury as a kid, so she had something that tightened up her butt.
That's a lie.
Yeah, I know, but I like believed it.
Gymnastics injury.
Yeah,
So yeah,
That sounds like that sounds like.
she out the gate.
yeah.
But you know, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say weird, but I got a big girl one time. It was almost the best shit I ever had, honestly. That's
Really?
why I went.
Like how big? Like Roy Nelson big?
Nah,
Or
she was big. She was at least like 2 bills strong, like a
200.
Yeah, like maybe 5'3", but she was 2
That's
bills.
big.
Yeah, she was big. She was
Yeah,
big, but she
White
had
girl, black girl?
she had a really pretty face.
Oh, that makes up for it.
Yeah. She was, yeah. Hey, but listen though, after that I was like, I can't do this again because I almost fell in love with that shit.
So what's wrong with that?
No, I just because I knew that.
Because you don't want to be seen with her.
Oh, come on.
I didn't want to say it, but
You could be seeing. Look,
no, but listen. Here's the thing about it. It's all about being like. I'm not a person to hang up on looks like, oh, she got to be like this and like whatever. Because I take, as I get older, I start to look at how does somebody act more than how they look more than anything. But like, I like body. You know what I'm saying? I'm into body. And then I was just out there, and she was a big girl, biggin', and I was like, eh.
You ever see a big girl with a really pretty face? And you're like, man, if they lost weight, they'd be so hot.
see that all the time.
And then they do, and they're not hot anymore. I'm like, fuck, you were better before. Because before you had potential.
Yeah,
Like-
there's a fine line. But yeah, I agree, man, with what you were saying, especially about when you get old and you understand, especially as an athlete. Like there's an attitude and an effort that goes into it. It's not that you have to be like the you have to be like one of these 20-year-olds or whatever. It's just you have to have a personality and effort and a character that's. Yeah, your body changes, but your character hasn't changed much. You've evolved as a person, but you still care about your body.
No, the best girls. I'm convinced the best girls are the ones who were not hot growing up, and now they're hot because they still act cool. Like they still have that personality that got them by. And now they have like, versus like.
The girl that grew up pretty and knowing she was pretty.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
The worst is when the girl was pretty,
but then she still thinks she is pretty, but she's not anymore.
And she's trying to do it with like Botox and like collagen and the fake lips and the.
She don't want to admit it. It's over.
You
don't want to say you peaked that in high school. You don't want to say that.
Nobody wants to cop to that.
But that's true.
But you know what's not over? Blue Apron. Listen, Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Their mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everybody. They achieve this by supporting a more sustainable food system, setting the highest standards for ingredients, and building a community of home chefs. I'm telling you, they can be delivered in 99% of the continental U.S. and 99.5% of food desserts. And because Blue Apron ships the exact amount of each ingredient required for a recipe, they are reducing food waste. I'm telling you, me and my girl, we have Blue Apron night. It is the best night. We cook, we put on some music, we drink wine. Cooking together builds strong family bonds. My family hated me until we started doing Blue Apron. Trust me on this one. Research shows that Blue Apron families cook nearly 3 times more often. And you can, those who spend a lot at restaurants or at high-end grocery chains can now spend under $10 per person for a delicious meal. So, check it out. It's affordable, they got great variety, it's flexible, it's easy, it's guaranteed. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/MMA roast. You'll love how good it feels, how good it tastes, be able to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. Don't wait. That's blueapron.com/MMA roast. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. So, speaking of guys that don't want to hang it up, Chuck Liddell, over the weekend, called out Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz said no, he doesn't want to fight him.
They took a picture together.
Yeah, well, he said, he goes, I don't want to fight you because sorry that you need the money. I'll lend you some money if you need money or something. Yep. And now people are saying...
Did he say that? Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Twitter.
Oh.
That was good.
Chuck went back at him.
That was the best one Tito's had in years.
He said,
Chuck went back at him, too. Like, I'll take some money. That's cool by me. I'll just do the same thing I did the first 2 times.
Now... I don't know. Now, you fought both these guys. Rashad, who do you think wins?
Right now?
Right now.
Oh, my.
Chuck.
No. I got to say Chuck Liddell.
Really?
I got to say Chuck.
Because he doesn't hit that hard? And
No, I just think that he has his mind control. Like, he has, like, sometimes people just have that over you, and Chuck has that over Tito. Yeah. I think that Tito is, Tito was always a lot better than he knew. But I think when it comes with him and Chuck, I think Chuck just has something in his head that he can't get past.
Your fight with Tito, I was convinced you were going to murder Tito, and but I think you said he was a lot stronger than you thought he was going to be, right?
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah. The first time I fought Tito, everybody was telling me, like, oh, this is why I don't like to have people around me that be like, oh, you're going to kill him. I hate when people around me that says that when I got an opponent, because then, even if I don't believe it, the shit will sink into your mind. Yeah. Eventually, it sinks into your mind, and you start cutting corners.
That happened to you too?
And when it gets tough, you get surprised.
Yeah, and so when the fight happens, everyone's telling me I'm going to kill him, he's this, he's weak, and da-da-da. Tito grabbed a hold of me, and he was the strongest motherfucker I ever felt in my life. And I remember looking across the cage, and I see my corner, and I can only think of one thing. You motherfuckers lied to me. You motherfuckers lied to me. He's strong as shit. And I go into panic mode, like, holy shit. He's stronger than any human being I ever touched in my life.
That's like when comics, like you're on like 5th in the lineup and they all have good sets. Like, oh, you're gonna kill. I'm like, oh, fuck.
I'm done.
Like, and then it's like, and then if like you think you're better than those comics, and then you're not having a good set, you're like, man, why are they doing better than me? Sometimes it's the worst thing someone can tell you is that you're gonna kill.
Yeah. It's the worst.
It only go downhill from there. Now another fight I got to ask you about is Cormier versus John Jones.
Oh, rematch.
Now, I want Daniel Cormier to win. Cormier is a friend of mine. I think he's a.
Did you go to his wedding?
Didn't go to his wedding, so we're not.
Did you get the invite?
No, so I'm not back at the friends.
Neither did I, though.
But I like Cormier.
You didn't get it either?
I ain't get it either.
Oh, shit, man.
You don't got invite?
DC
I'm
ain't shit.
going.
Sonny and Becker and those guys.
Oh, Sonny and Becker and everybody did like
I
that?
think Donovan and those guys went.
Okay,
They
yeah,
called
that's
me.
cool.
I'm busy that day, though.
Yeah. Now I think Cormier is he's better for the sport. He's a better person. He's done more for kids. He's a better role model, yada, yada, yada. I just don't know. I mean, John Jones has that it factor.
Well, it's hard to say, and I say this in all due respect, like what John Jones we're going to see, because a lot of people underestimate what actually happens to a fighter or an athlete when they're away from the sport for so long.
Yep.
And it happens to everyone, and we've seen a glimpse of that when he fought OSP. OSP is very tough, but at the same time, that went 5 rounds with a guy who was not training for a 5-round fight, with a guy who was still very talented but very green in a lot of ways. So you have to look at that and take that into consideration. So, but also, you know, John Jones is coming from a lot in that whole situation. You got to think about the fact that, you know, John had a lot of outside baggage. You know, just having been able to get an opportunity to fight in the cage again was a big deal for him. And then he was getting a chance to fight. So he was emotionally different. So now you got to say, okay, is he going to be emotionally different like that going into DC? The DC fight, if he's like emotionally like that going into the DC fight, I like DC in this fight because DC is
Have you trained with
competing.
DC ever?
When you first started, not lately. But DC's in a role. DC's feeling himself, and DC has his rhythm and timing down. And there's something to be said about that. I mean, John Jones is probably one of the best ever to strap on the 4-ounce gloves for sure. But how's he going to be after being out for so long?
Now, do you think he was on steroids?
John?
Do I think he's on steroids? I don't know.
He
That's
tested
a
positive,
hell,
but I mean,
that's a
there was
hell
a
of a
while
thing
he
to
was
say.
looking like an Adonis. I mean, he went from having like
Yeah, but
dad bod to,
here's
like,
here's the
Mr.
thing.
America.
But here's the thing though. John has always been a late bloomer though. He's always been physically a late bloomer. He's been tall, but he's still someone who's still growing into like reaching maturity. For instance, and I say that because of the way his facial hair
Why
grows.
does he need boner pills? I mean, he's what, 32 years old? I mean, who takes I mean, you can't get it up. The amount of pussy he's getting.
I don't know. Maybe he took something that make it not get up.
Man.
I'm confused about that.
Jesus, you really want me to fucking spell it out, huh?
No, what is? Oh, coke. Oh, coke doesn't get. Oh, he's on coke and he needs boner pills.
I'm not saying
Okay.
Spot blower?
I'm not saying
Spot blower?
I'm not, huh?
Yeah.
Spot blower?
Yes.
Like Jesus.
Hey,
Yes,
no,
yeah.
it's. I mean, it's already out there. I mean,
yeah.
he told us.
Oh.
He told us about
I feel like that. I feel like
part.
that GIF where who's that guy where he's like, oh, is that the black guy? Who's
Yeah,
that actor? Is it Omar Epps? But he's just like, oh, you know what I'm talking about?
I know you're talking about.
He comes to that realization.
Yeah,
So now, who do you think wins this fight?
I think DC should definitely be the favorite going into that for a lot of the same reasons what Rashad said. Being away from the sport for that long, especially with the OSP fight, what he looked like after being away for that portion of time. But then, you know that he has a passion. There's something about him, between him and DC. Now that doesn't mean his timing is going to be correct or any of that, but is he going to, like, how much work is he putting in the off time? Yeah, he's training with some of the best guys in the world. He still has his coaching. He still has the team that brought him to that point. But it'll be telling. The first round will be telling, and then the third round will be the most telling if it goes that long. But if he shows up and he's not the same John Jones, he's going to get finished.
I just feel like with DC, man, you talk about like, okay, luck is very important. He's such a skilled person. He's just overcome so much. We heard about his story about his father getting murdered, and the DUI. I mean, not the accident he got into, or I think someone with his.
Oh, DC?
Yeah, DC.
Didn't his daughter pass away?
Yeah,
young?
and then like you look at the sporting luck of like he's in the same weight class as Cael Sanderson, and he loses by like 3 points to Cael Sanderson in a final match. And if you watch that match, there was a point where it was like 5-4 or something, and he cut him, but in a way where it was a mental lapse in the third, where it was just like, ugh.
Why'd you do that?
And now he's in the same weight class as arguably the greatest fighter of all time, because Cain Velasquez is the heavyweight. He could probably be the heavyweight champion.
He can definitely be a heavyweight champion.
It's just like, oh man, you just kind of feel for a guy who's right there.
But you know what though? if you even take out the fact that John Jones has been a long light heavyweight king, you have to look at DC's body of work of what he's done thus far.
Right.
Like he like the fight that stands out to me more than anything is the fight with Gustafsson. That fight right there to me was the stamp on him being the champion. And I was like, wow, okay, this guy can fight.
What about Josh Barnett? I mean, you look at how big Josh Barnett is, and you look at DC, who's like, 4'11", and Josh Barnett. Just, I mean, he threw around this. You look at how good of a grappler and who Josh Barnett has fought, and he just tosses around Josh Barnett.
What about the plane ride that Dan Henderson went on?
Easy,
he cradled him like a baby,
effortlessly.
Crazy.
He almost tossed Gustafsson out of the cage.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing, but there is something where like as wrestling you would see it all the time of like a guy who just murders everybody until the finals, and then he just can't get. He loses by 1 point to a guy that you're like.
Well, I mean, listen, John Jones is not only one of the most physically gifted athletes to ever step into the octagon. He's also one of the smartest.
And
he's
the
a very, very smart fighter.
And the meanest.
Yeah. I mean, he enjoys it to the point where, I mean, he's obsessed. It's an obsession. And that's when you see the level of greatness that he's had and the stuff that he's been able to do. So it's going to be interesting to see how DC overcomes that when John Jones does the tricks that he does, like when you're in a cage with him, you're fighting him and you're clenching, he goes and he put his hands on the inside of your gloves and he holds it so he can elbow you. You know that like I mean you did
Is that what he did to you?
Huh?
Is that what he did to you?
Yeah, of course. Against the cage, where the referee can't see, the referee can't see.
Kind of a more hidden Tim Kennedy.
You ain't cheating if you ain't trying. It's only cheating if you get caught.
Of course, John is a very he's a very smart fighter, and that's the thing that separates him from a lot of his competition. When he's tested and when he feels like, okay, it's a really good fight, he'll separate himself by having these little tricks that he does that actually plays a big role in his opponent's mind.
It's crazy.
I think one of the other things with John is I think his position of like, I cannot lose to DC outweighs his desire to beat DC. It's like, I can't lose. If I win, I'm the champ. This is where I was. If I lose to DC, this is like the most detrimental thing that could ever happen to him.
Maybe,
emotionally.
but also there's also other things to consider. Like, well, number one, we got to point out that he's now selling Coca-Cola shirts, which is the greatest thing ever. Like he's basically embracing his he's like now the poster boy for cocaine. But the fact is that what was it saying about John Jones? He can't lose. Forgot what I was gonna say. I need to get some sleep. But John Jones.
No, but I like the fact that he's selling those shirts with John Jones and they look like the Coke, banner or branding, because he needs. And I wish that he would have done it so long ago. I wish he would have just been himself.
Just embrace it.
Yes, and just been himself. And who he is an awesome person, but he was battling that for a long time. He wanted to be perceived a certain way, but that's the reality. Like here's the situation. You're in the public light and you can try to be whatever way you want to be, but they're always going to see you as how they see you. Yeah. So instead of trying to sculpt the way they're going to see you, just be you. Yeah. And I think now he's closer to that than anything.
And if you want them to see something else, then you have to be that something else. You can't just do that in front of a camera.
Right.
But do you think taking away like his toys, like sometimes people, I remember Manny Pacquiao, when Manny Pacquiao beat Barrera and Morales, like I've been watching at the gym. He was like staying up 5 days straight, going on these drug binges, cheating on his wife every week, driving 900 miles an hour around LA. He was insane.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he found Jesus, and he was getting his ass kicked.
Right.
Do you think John's like? I remember, like I've heard stories about the Gustafsson. He came in week of the fight after 2 prostitutes came with him to training. He was on ecstasy and Molly and coke. Taking away all that, is that going to?
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, there is something to be said about that because, as Tim S. Grover, a writer who wrote this book called Relentless, he said that every top athlete, the closer, has to have a little bit of that edge to him. they need it. They have to have that edge because they gamble in their sport, but they also have to gamble in their life too. So whatever that gamble is for them, they have to do it. If they don't do that gamble, then they don't balance themselves out. So he does have to keep a pinch of sand.
Yeah.
So maybe he can make his coke binge
So he gets
a
one
little.
hooker.
Well, and that's the thing. And that's the thing too.
But he's got to
So
keep it.
what was your thing?
Huh?
What was your thing? You were a champion of the world.
What was my thing?
Yeah, what was your like?
Oh man, I can't tell you my thing. I might have to stop it.
Yves, what was
I might have to
what was your
stop it.
thing,
I
Yves?
might have to stop my thing.
What was your thing?
And
Yves?
when I'm done fighting, this is a conversation I'm gonna come on. I'm gonna say what my thing was, but I can't say that because I don't want to.
Was it something that Matt Hughes did not like about? Was it something that's the same thing as what Matt Hughes had an issue with originally on The Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, like for me, fighting has always been something different. Fighting is something I never done when I was mad. It was like always like a show off thing. Like I'm better. You challenge me. How dare you? I will embarrass you. So for me, I always gotta like to keep a bit of the arrogance about like this guy's gonna step and have the audacity to challenge me. I'm gonna embarrass him, and whatever I can do to embarrass him and make it look like I'm embarrassing him, then that's what I'm gonna do. And be like, oh my God, you're so cocky. You're so cocky. But it was just a part of me.
And Yves, what was your thing?
I didn't have a thing.
Come on.
He's a fucking stone cold murderer. You don't have a thing.
Wait, outside the
You
cage.
might have
outside
bodies
the cage.
somewhere.
Outside the cage. You gotta have a thing
Come
outside
on,
the
what
cage.
was
You
your
gotta have a thing
Come on.
outside the
Was
cage.
it Bahamas girls? Was it it was probably had to be chicks, right? No. Oh, you were married. Was it
I don't have a thing.
You're so full of shit, man. Damn. All right, fine. Have fun.
Listen, I think that John should just still be John, but when he wants to do his thing, he should be like, yo, listen, I want to do my thing tonight. Have somebody as a chaperone, have somebody like have it set up. You know what I'm saying?
I think he should have a
So
line
that
of
way,
coke from the
gotta have a
cage.
leash.
huh? Yeah. Make sure he has somebody who,
Yeah.
because he's been great doing it. So just
Right.
It's like Michael Irving.
Oh, he was the best. He was like, "Are those drugs?" No, I was holding them for my friend. He was unbelievable. Now, other fights this weekend: Yancey against Eric Silva.
oh, Madeira.
Fuck, man.
Do you think that fight was stopped too soon? I think it was.
Yeah, that was definitely stopped too soon.
It was stopped too soon. I don't know if it would have changed the result, but it was
No.
stopped.
No, but
You
know
got to
what?
give him a chance.
But you know what though, Eric Silva is one of those fighters, and that's when it comes to a referee knowing who they're reffing.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a referee, you got to know, okay, it's more than just being assigned to a fight. You got to know the fighter and how they fight and what they look like when they're rocked. So then that way, if it happens in a fight, you have an idea. You can give it a longer time where you stop it, or you don't at all. You know what I'm saying? So he just didn't know who he was reffing.
But I'm not hating on the referee for that. It was. I think it was an early stoppage. I don't necessarily know if it would have changed the result of the fight, but then it's always a little bit better than taking too long to stop.
Yeah, like Mario Yamasaki.
Mario
That one
Yamasaki
guy-
is the slowest.
What was
ref
that
to
fight
stop.
that
Nah, I
night?
forgot who it was.
Say Mazzagatti is.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Yeah, he's in ref anymore.
But there was a fight that night that they
Winslow
let
was bad
land.
too.
They let
Winslow
some-
was the worst.
Kim Winslow.
I remember when I was fighting Forrest, and I was fighting, and Steve Mazzagatti was the ref, and I'm hitting Forrest, and I'm looking up like Forrest is going limp, and I'm like, I'm about to wake him up if I hit him anymore.
Mazzagatti was the
Oh,
ref when I fought Josh
Forrest
Thompson.
was bouncing off, and he's like kind of tapping the mat, but he's not looking.
He's not looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the ref when I
And I'm
fought
looking
Josh
up at the
Thompson. And he
referee
let
like,
me
yo,
in.
you
He
gonna
literally
stop this
was.
shit?
He was like, Forrest's head went back and then came back up. Rashad landed out back, came back. It was like one of those punching bags, just always.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the referee, like I'm hitting him. I'm looking at the referee, like, yo.
And Forrest is out like this, and he's hitting the mat like, I'm done. Let me
One
out
of
of
my most
here.
impressive fights you had, Rashad, was against Phil Davis. Because I thought Phil Davis, I talked to Phil before that fight. He's like, I don't want to fight Rashad. That's my friend. I don't want to beat my friend. He was convinced
he was gonna smash me.
that he was
yeah.
going to smash me. And I
Phil's
remember
tough,
watching
though.
Phil through college wrestling.
Yeah, Phil's
and
tough.
I'm happy Phil's doing so good now in Bellator. But that was a fight that I think a lot of people were surprised.
I remember telling Phil in that fight, I'm like, I told him I was gonna. He had junk wrestling, and I said he wouldn't have had a national championship if I was there. But he's a great wrestler. But it was just something to get in his head. But it ended up happening in the fight.
I think the one that you were thinking of with the ref that night that let like 40 go.
Yeah.
Was that the Bohachino Oluwalebombos fight?
No, it wasn't that fight. It was another fight before that. I'll tell you who my new favorite fighter is now, Brian Kelleher.
Oh, my God.
Kid from Long Island, upstate New York.
Fuck.
And
unreal.
goes out there, and after his first fight, calls out Dana White, asks for a $50,000.
He got it.
But wait a minute, though. But his story is so funny because he's 10 years in the sport, grinding his ass off, trying to make it to the big show. And then he finally sees an opportunity because Dana White goes to his smaller organization show and as looking for a fight. So he's like, I got to put on. He sees Dana in the crowd, and he's having a fight, and it was kind of so-so. And then he's like, I got to do something exciting. And then he catches the guy with a spinning back fist, knocks him out, and then he gets on. Yeah. He gets the opportunity. But, I mean, that's a guy who has grinded his ass off, seeing so many people probably around him that he beat get their shot, and then now he got his, and then he wasn't even buckling under the pressure. And that's the thing about, like, making a debut. Like he didn't give a fuck.
That's how I'm gonna be with comedy. I'm fucking 20 years into stand-up comedy. Yeah. When I get my shot, when I finally get my fucking
he's gonna
big
forget
shot.
about us so bad. Yo,
No,
I'm telling you, we're not. Listen, he is going to be like, we can text him like, yo, Adam, what's up? He's like,
new phone. Who's this
again?
Yeah. Never.
My contacts didn't back up. Like, come on.
The fight you're talking about is Matthew Lopez and Johnny Eduardo.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was really bad. I mean, he's looking for that heel hook and he's chasing it real hard. But he never even tried to get his head away or make space, get some extension and make some space. He just took all those shots.
And I feel like it was because there was a Brazilian in Brazil that he was trying to let the Brazilian guy come back.
Yeah,
and it's
give him a chance.
What is this? This is fucking WWE?
Well, Johnny Eduardo's been patchy since Aljamain beat him.
Yeah, and I mean that's a lot. I know he doesn't fight a lot, but that's a lot of damage for a guy who's been fighting since '97.
A lot of people,
even like Yuri against Kelleher, he hadn't been submitted in 9 years. And
a lot of people were upset about the Asensio Moraes fight. I just think that you when you pick two guys that are identical and you put them up against each other, it's probably a bad matchup. Those guys are so alike.
It's even a worse matchup when you do that in a guy's debut. For both reasons, for both sides of that coin is Rafael Assunção. He's a cautious fighter. He's not. I mean, he's number 3 guy for a reason. He's not going to go out there and really expose himself. And Moraes on the other side of that, he's not going to try to expose himself either. This is his debut. He knows he's fighting a tough guy, and he wants to perform, but he also doesn't want to get stopped. He doesn't want to get ran through. So putting that fight together with these, like that, if that fight came 3 or 4 fights in Marlon Moraes' career, a UFC career, that could be a different looking fight.
But I think on paper that was a good fight. But then sometimes when you think about it, you're like, okay, 2 strikers on paper sometimes could be good. But sometimes when you guys are like, it's almost like putting 2 wrestlers. It's like almost like you're better off a wrestler versus a striker and see what happens versus 2 guys that are exactly.
Yeah, well, 2 guys with great.
I gave Marlon a lot of hype. I gave him a lot of hype, and I truly believe that he's one of the best in the division. But those lights, those UFC lights, get everybody. And I knew he was heading in the wrong place when he kept dapping his opponent up. I'm like, God damn it! When I get at somebody who gives me dap man all the time, keep me dap. I'm like, that means he's nervous, and a guy does that because they're trying to constantly feel comfortable because they feel very weird, and they want to dap you and high five you to be like, hey, this is just like practice.
Belong here. We're both
this is great, you know. But it's a different kind of trigger than a guy who stares at you in front of the cage. He daps you at one time, and then he just fucking goes to town on you.
Right.
It's a different kind of mindset, you know. So if I go to a guy who keeps dapping me up, I'm like, this fucking guy's scared.
Yep.
Have you ever had a guy do that to you? Keep trying to high five you, or
I hate that shit.
You don't remember?
I mean, if it happened, I'm sure my reaction would have been like one time, and then it's like, no.
Well, Jake said the same thing. You don't high five. You don't give hugs before or after the fight.
When I fought Forrest at the weigh-in, right after we shook hands at the weigh-in, he was like, "Listen, don't try to high five me tomorrow. We're just gonna fight."
Wow,
that's interesting coming from him too.
Yeah.
He was.
Now, all right. So this week, Mark Hunt versus Derek Lewis.
The big black beast.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know why, but I'm thinking that Mark Hunt's gonna knock him out. I don't. It's in Australia or New Zealand, right?
Why you don't know why? Let's see. Mitrione knocked him out with a forearm. And
Yeah, I know. And so did that Sean Jordan. But if you look at who's looked really good in his last couple fights versus who hasn't.
No, of course.
But it's in New Zealand, and
But Mark Hunt was winning the fight with Alistair before he got caught, though. You got to remember that.
yeah, I was there. That was insane.
He was doing well against Verdum too.
Who do you think wins this fight, Yves?
I don't know, man. Mark Hunt, yeah, he's tough. He's walk-off knockouts and whatnot, but he's been in there a lot. You know what I mean? He's been in a lot of K1 fights, and Derek hits hard. There's not going to be any wrestling in this fight. You know, I think if Derek lands something first, and Derek has a decent chin. Mark hits hard, but and I'm taking Derek Lewis in this one.
Rashad?
Eve's gonna pull my black card if I don't go with Derek Lewis. Hey, no, but
Take the Samoan.
nah. If I would say that I like Mark Hunt, and he's one of my guys who I idolize, and I always watch him growing up. But I just think that he's just in a different place right now. You know, with the whole UFC lawsuit and everything else. You know, I think he's already he's already kind of bringing it home, and I think this whole fighting in his hometown is kind of him kind of saying goodbye in a different kind of way, you know. So I don't know if he has the kind of desire to beat the big black beast. And that's why I'm gonna go with the big black beast.
Black Beast is like I just think like he'd be like the worst cellmate ever. Imagine like you go to jail and like
No,
You can't have my cornbread.
or the best because no one would fuck with you, but you'd probably be his girlfriend. And you, CB?
I got Derek Lewis.
You got
I
Derek
don't
Lewis?
know. Since it got announced, I thought Derek Lewis would pull it off.
I think Brett Roberts is the worst cellmate
Hey,
ever.
What? Brett Rogers?
Brett Rogers
Oh,
is
yeah,
the worst
yeah,
cellmate
that's a
ever.
good
Hey,
point.
but what about? When I think of Derek Lewis, I just think about him just beating the shit out of Travis Brown.
Yeah.
And then saying, "Where Ronda Rousey out?"
Where's Ronda Rousey fine ass at?
That right there is like, wait a minute, bro. You just whooped my ass, and then you talking about my girl, and I can't do shit about it. I have to get a gun to shoot you.
Seriously, like
Like there's nothing. Like I've never seen someone just completely just castrate a man. Then that was the most castrating.
even like a blowjob that night from Ronda still would not make me feel better. It would be like I would be like, man, this is a pity blowjob. I would be thinking of the Black Beast.
Could you even get it up after getting whooped on that bad?
No,
Probably,
especially after he couldn't even defend her. He can't even defend her honor. Right?
He hasn't won a fight since they started dating. Travis Brown.
Neither of them. Well, I wouldn't say neither of them.
But yeah, he just stole. He whooped his ass, and then he stole his. Like he just raised his leg on.
He just took it.
He just raised his leg on Travis the whole. My heart hurt for him for that.
Now, by the way, if you beat Sam Alvey, are you going to fight again, or is this your last fight, or you want to fight five
Jesus
more times?
Christ.
Vitor Belfort, what's going on?
No, I'm gonna fight again.
Yeah.
Fight again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Would you fight Vitor? I know you
No,
guys
I
just train
wouldn't
together.
fight Vitor.
Is he too close or?
Yeah, I like him. You know, I mean, Vitor is still very, very tough and very dangerous, but I don't have no desire to fight Vitor.
Are you fighting at 205 or 185?
185.
The last fight was you were at 185, right?
Yeah.
You were so ripped. Holy shit! Like there was pictures. I was like, damn. Like, was
I'm
that
ripped.
the most ripped you've been in years?
Yeah, I haven't been as low since college.
You look like all head.
Ain't that weird though?
Title of the episode.
It's the weirdest thing ever, man. It's like, you know how like they say like when you lose a lot of weight, like Oprah and everybody,
Yeah.
you keep that big ass fucking head. My head is still big.
Now, are you on Bumble or Black People Meet? Or Grindr? Were you using that picture?
I don't go on those sites like that. Could you imagine?
Why
You
not?
think Rashad needs to go on those sites?
I mean, sometimes it's easier.
Nah,
You get girls
it is easy. It is easier, but easier is not always better.
Good point. Very good point. I've met my girl on Tinder.
Yeah, that's true, man. Because when it's easy, everybody does it.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
you
true.
don't- You don't want to.
Well,
like
now, but there's
Walmart.
also like there's Bumble for like celebrities that you could be on. You know that, right? There's
Huh?
there's certain
The celebrity
Oh,
bumble.
Gabby Garcia's
there's
on Tinder.
No, there's
I know.
celebrity bumble.
I never heard of
It's
this.
like only models. Like you have to be approved and prove that you're
It's
kind of
like
famous.
Verify and shit.
Yeah,
I never heard of this.
You have
Like
to have
a check
54,000
mark on Twitter.
followers.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm
We're
just.
sending-
I don't.
No,
I'm
no,
just.
there
I
is.
just
There's
made that up.
No, there is. That's
Nah,
right.
I never
No,
heard
but I mean,
Is this true?
I said you have to have 54,000 followers.
No, but you have to they have to approve you, and then it's only bad bitches. But they're probably all head cases. But
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Absolutely.
Look up Tinder for celebrities.
Tinder Elite.
Tinder for Tinder.
It's Tinder,
No,
not
it's-
Bumble.
Yeah,
Tinder
Tinder
for
for celebrities.
Tinder
basically.
for celebrities.
Yeah, there's also
I'm not even a celebrity. I hate that.
you
shit.
are a celebrity.
No, I am
You
not
are a
a
UFC
celebrity.
champion.
You're on TV.
You're both of you guys are
Yeah, but
celebrities.
I don't
I don't know about
understand that shit. I don't understand the whole. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Okay, fine, but you're an elite. You're the world champion.
I'm somebody who's known from being on TV. I'm not a celebrity. A celebrity is a different kind of thing.
Well, first of all, you're one of the best. Both of you guys are the best in the world at what you do, and that's to me a celebrity in your field. You're a
Okay,
celebrity.
I get it.
So quit being humble. All right.
No.
So Derek Brunson versus Dan Kelly. This fight, man. Look, Derek
fucking
Brunson
knows?
is he's so good, but then he got so sloppy, and he was getting rewarded for his sloppiness. He was it was almost like mall fights or like fights you see on World Star, but he was winning. He was winning these crazy fights until he ran into Robert Whitaker, who was not going to fall for that shit. But he still even hurt Robert Whitaker for a second. Hopefully he's getting back to his regular. I know they weren't teaching him that in Greg Jackson's, right? The way he was fighting.
What's that?
Derek Brunson.
Yeah, no, he's doing his own thing right now. But
Not with Jackson, but I'm saying when he was
he's-
had his hands down and going crazy.
Well, I mean, it's the same things that make you laugh and make you cry. He's been rewarded, like you said, for knocking people out, but you got to live by the sword and die by the sword. So he's out there just throwing it, and he's giving exciting fights, and it's what people want. But I mean, eventually you will get caught if you fight that way.
So you think Brunson Kelly, who wins this fight?
I think Brunson, but I think Brunson has to be patient. I think that Kelly is so underwhelming to watch on film. But when you're in there with him, you're like, okay, he's pretty tough, he's durable, and he has a different kind of mindset. And he's a 4-time judo Olympian. So the guy has a heart, and you can't take that away from him. The guy has one leg, but you have to methodically break him down. If you try to get him up out of it early, it's gonna be an ugly fight.
For Alvey was able to do that.
What's that, Alvey? Yeah, but
Sam.
they
Did
got the
Sam knock him
same.
out?
Yeah, they got the same kind of
Right.
weirdness about them.
Who do you think wins this fight? Brunson?
I think this fight is determined by how Brunson reacts to Kelly not being breakable, because Brunson can break. I think he can get discouraged when he's not successful. And if Dan Kelly can survive the onslaught that Brunson can bring early, I think Brunson could start to crack, and Kelly could just grind him out and possibly finish late, but probably win a decision.
CB?
I got Dan Kelly. I think
He's 60.
I know, but I think his base is heavy. There's a heavy base to protect from the takedown from Brunson, plus the judo. I don't know if Brunson can put him on his back. He probably could, but it's going to be hard. And Kelly hits, for a 75-year-old man, he hits fucking hard.
He is hard. Yeah, he can hit, but he's
He
slow. And I think that right there is the reason why I give Brunson an edge, and I think that he can be able to catch him with something and maybe knock him out because he's slow. But
I thought Brunson beat Anderson Silva, by the way. I thought that was. I think he got robbed in that Silva fight.
yeah,
Brunson
I
just
see that,
can't
I see that.
come out wild.
Now,
He
who do you
cannot
think
come
wins,
out
by the
wild.
way? Whitaker versus Yall.
Ooh,
Man, that's a
Whitaker's
really
looking
good
so
fight.
good.
And Whitaker always shows up. You know what I mean? There's been fights, so many fights in the past where you're like, he's not gonna win that fight. He's not gonna win that fight, and then he finishes those guys. Similar. A lot of people thought that he would lose to Jacare, but it's something about what his team does and what they put together, and he sticks to that game plan very well. He takes away your strengths, and there's. I mean, it's obvious what Yoel Romero's strengths are. His explosiveness, his wrestling, and he stays explosive. And I think a guy like Whitaker, his team will see that, and he will be able to be prepared for that explosiveness even when Yoel slows down.
Right.
So we're picking.
I'm picking Whitaker, man. I can't pick against him.
Rashad.
I'm gonna go with Yoel. I think that Yoel is probably one of the best, most physically gifted athlete in the division.
You ever train with him?
No, I never have. But
I've trained with
but
Yoel.
here's
Yeah.
the thing. Sometimes Yoel fights a bit lazy, and I think that could be a problem with him when he's fighting against Whitaker. But I think his ability to wrestle and to be able to be the stronger fighter is going to give Whitaker problems.
How does he do in practice?
Yoel, I mean, he's fucking great. I
Does
mean,
anybody?
Wait, he's your team and you went against him?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I was gonna say. Like it's surprising, but no bias.
Yeah, he's legit. He's a legit badass, but like also
How do him
Whitaker.
and Lombard do against
Whitaker's-
other?
They don't really. I mean, they just drill a lot when they spar.
Lombard tried to take his head off, and
No,
Yoel
I don't think he
threw him
does that with
halfway across
Yoel.
the gym.
He doesn't try to take.
No, it's Hector's weird, man. There are some guys that he respects and he won't come at you.
Is it the
you know?
Cuban thing? The Cuban
I think that has to
connection?
do with the Cuban
Yeah,
thing.
I don't get it, man.
Same thing with like he's the same way with Masvidal, you know. Same way with but he's also the same way with Pitbull, and like he was the same way with Pitbull and Robbie. You know, he's
The fight that I'm looking forward to, because I saw this guy fight. I was at his last fight. This dude's he's Kutalaba,
Ion Kutalaba, the Hulk.
the Hulk.
Who's that?
I
This
remember.
guy that came
Ion
out-
Kutalaba. He
Came
comes
out full green makeup, entire
remember
body.
he fought that black guy, and he was just letting that guy punch him in the face.
Wasn't it Jared Cannonier?
It was some
It was
crazy
at the Ultimate
fight.
Fighter
yeah,
finale,
Yeah,
yeah.
It was. I'd never seen it like the guy just like stood there.
He just bla-
He's from
he got
Moldova, and they're all insane over there. And he's fighting a guy, Enrique da Silva, Frankenstein.
Enrique da Silva's a tough fucking dude too.
So it's the Hulk versus Frankenstein. The Hulk should have beat Frankenstein in like if there were
That makes sense
comic
for the
books.
Hulk, but you know what? The Frankenstein will always keep coming back though. So,
So this fight I'm looking forward to, and also Tim Elliott versus Ben again. Ben.
When?
Ben Gang.
Yeah, he's a guy that.
Tim's the replacement though for Benavidez.
Yeah, Ben's the guy that like. Remember that guy that was dating Jesse
Julian
Jess?
Wallace.
Julian Wallace. He's tattooed everywhere.
Yeah.
And he was beating up his girlfriend, but then she knocked him out, and then he was dating.
What?
Yeah, he was.
She knocked him out.
Yeah, the story was he was beating her
That dude
up,
should never leave. a
Wasn't
house
it?
again.
Wasn't it Jesse?
and then Jesse knocked him out with a head kick.
Yeah.
But then he got arrested for beating her up, even though she knocked him out.
What?
I guess he was drunk. It was just like.
There's
yeah.
also the video of him at the weigh-ins holding the belt, and he's looking at Ben Nguyen, and he
But
gets in his face
hold
and he
on,
starts
okay.
pushing
It's
him.
two separate stories.
Wait. Who was the guy who?
This
Julian Wallace.
This guy, Julian Wallace, who's like got tattoos all over his face, like everywhere. And he was beating up his girlfriend at the time, Jessie Jess, who was like this hot chick who trains at. She's an Invicta, great ass, nice girl. She was my cat sitter for a while. And he was beating her up, and then she knocked him out with a head kick. So anyway, then he was dating.
Oh, wow,
Then he was
goodness.
dating Ashley Evans Smith for a while. I don't know how this guy gets girls. So anyway, he was talking all this shit to this guy Ben Nguyen.
Nguyen.
When?
So he was talking all this shit to him, and this guy knocked him out in like 7 seconds or something.
Yeah, it was
right?
like a 30-second, less than 30-second.
And then he went to Team Alpha Male, and Cody Love's brother knocked him out in sparring, and they got it on tape. And he goes, "Welcome Team Alpha Male, bitch," and walked away, which that might have been a little excessive. Okay, so
damn, but that's kind of his face.
yeah, his face. This dude is like definitely not.
These are the type of people.
Jesus.
Yeah,
These are
but
the type
his
of people
girl's
we
cute
don't
though. His
tattoo.
ex-girl, Jessie Jess, is actually pretty cute.
It's pretty cute.
She actually tried out for the Ultimate Fighter this year, the one 25-pounder. Yeah, I don't know how the guy keeps
looks
getting girls
retarded.
though. That's the craziest part.
That's unreal.
So anyway, Tim Elliott, I think Tim's gonna win this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should
I
be a
like-
good fight though.
No, it's gonna be a good fight. I like Tim though.
So yes.
Our co-host and boys on the card.
Who?
Vince Pichel.
Oh yes.
Vince is
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Hey, where's Hanach?
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, definitely next time you're here, we'll have a Hanash. So
I gotta have Hanash.
By the way, this is his ex-girl, Jessie Jazz.
Oh, wow.
She's cute, but she got a nice little dumper.
She's a nice little turd cutter. She got tattoos on her face.
Australian, yeah. She got tattoos on her face also.
Too. Oh yeah. Okay, so they're the same.
Are you dating anybody, Rashad?
Huh?
You dating anybody?
What's that?
All right, cool. Yves, you?
What's that?
Any ladies in your life?
Hey.
Yes, but I do. I am.
Nice.
Yeah.
You like her?
Yeah, a lot.
Where'd you guys meet? All right, thanks.
Dodgeball.
Oh, really? You can't even
Yo.
say where you guys met?
Well, speaking of romance, War Machine got life
in prison.
36 years to life.
No, he didn't. Did he?
Yeah, but he can go up for parole in 36 years, so he'll be 71.
Are you serious?
The last time we met.
So he'll be So he'll be old enough for Bellator.
Yeah, perfectly. He'll be main eventing against Hoist in 2037.
That's crazy. You know what? A guy like that should be in jail. Sorry.
But he just ruined his life.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Crazy. So,
he probably won't.
Are you watching The Ultimate Fighter this year? You watching Tough?
I only saw a few episodes.
Yeah, I don't watch that much of it either.
It's pretty good. It's actually really good.
I like the coach rivalry.
I'll tell you who actually impressed me. I take it back. I take it back everything I said about Joe Stevenson. I thought Joe was too old, and I thought he was going to get hurt. And his last fight, he lost, but he did really well.
And he's in the wild card.
But how is Joe Daddy too old? That's so weird for me to hear that because he's like 8 years younger than me.
But it's not just too old. It's just experience. It's just too many
Joe
fights.
Stevenson ain't younger than you.
Yeah, he is younger than me.
Born in 1982.
Yeah. Oh, 82? Okay. Yeah, he's a little younger than me.
But just the amount of wars he had also.
You ain't born in 81.
I'm born in 79.
But also the amount
serious?
I'm an old man.
Yeah, but black doesn't
No,
crack.
Joe, I think the biggest detriment, which he said on the show, was the addiction. For 4 years, drinking like a fish. And
Yeah, he's only
crazy.
34 years old. Yeah, okay.
He's 34.
But that takes a toll.
But his record is 33-16. So that's a lot of fights.
Still a winning record.
Yeah, but he was.
51%.
But Joe would get he would drink like crazy, and he lived the fast life.
And
We
he's
saw
got
him in Invicta.
And he's got 7 kids, and and he went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight losing streak from 2010 2015. So he didn't win a what? So he didn't win a 6. So he didn't win a fight for 6 years. So that
Yeah,
alarmed me,
it hurt. Yeah,
And then the guys he beat, Gabriel Migloli and
Wait, was he competing steadily for 6 years and lost?
Yeah,
6 years in a row.
6 years in a row he lost.
No, he took 3 years off.
Oh, so that
2012 to 2015.
That's what I was a little worried about. But you know what? He did really good in the last fight. They brought him back.
He lost a decision, but he's going to the wild.
I'll tell you who
card.
I actually feel bad for is the guy who won the Ultimate Fighter, who got rear naked choked in the first round.
Eddie Gordon?
He
was pissed. He was yelling at TJ at the end of the last episode.
But listen,
Dude, it's not TJ's fucking fault.
Number one, but also Eddie Gordon, and all due respect to Eddie Gordon, when you lose in the first round by guillotine choke, you don't really have that much leeway to be I should be brought back.
No,
Right.
As much as
the decisions, and if it was like a wrong decision,
and he was a heavy
then,
favorite. He
but-
lost to Tom Galicchio, another guy. It wasn't like he lost to their number one pick. Eddie Truck Gordon, I think, just overlooked him. Sometimes you overlook people, and
Plus, he's fighting 15 pounds under than he usually does in the house, and
yeah. So anyway, it's a good season. It's a really good season. I'm enjoying it.
I gotta plug into it. I got it on my DVR, but
It's
I haven't
actually
get a chance
good.
to watch
It's actually because the guys.
Yeah.
It's a lot better when you're watching Jesse Taylor and these other guys that you've
Right, I know
actually
these
seen
guys.
before.
Ramsey and Jim, those guys.
Ramsey, yeah. Ramsey almost lost to Let Me Bang Bro. Let Me Bang Bro did fucking better than I thought he was going to do.
Yeah. But this is a very entertaining season. The coaches' rivalry is awesome. The only unfortunate part about it is they are not fighting at the end of the season.
You know what? No,
Cody's
Cody
out.
No Love's not coming across well at all. On this
No,
season.
him and Alpha Male are coming across, especially.
Terrible.
Well,
I heard it coming up terrible. I heard
Terrible.
It, yeah.
And it could be editing and yada yada, but
the one the other day, Alpha Male went a little too far.
it's also Cody's rise was real quick. When you got a guy who I remember him asking me, "Hey man, I got my first fight in the UFC coming up. Please retweet my videos and direct messaging me." I'm like, "No problem. Good luck." To being the champ 2 years later,
That's crazy.
you don't really have the experience of how to deal with
all
this.
No.
He hasn't been there for 10 years, 15 years, and you're like, "Oh shit." So and then you get engaged to an Instagram model who's, I'm sure she's super sweet and pretty, but all of a sudden life's coming at you really fast, Cody.
the same one, right?
Yeah,
But life, that's how it is. Like when you get into the UFC and you get thrusted and you have, a big superstar rising, it has a lot of growing pains. A lot of growing pains is areas where you can't account for until after it's already passed. You're like, holy shit, that happened.
And TJ's been there before. TJ was on the actual show. He knows. TJ knows what buttons to push, and I heard he's training now at King's MMA. By the way,
TJ?
TJ's at King's. Yeah. So it's
No, and I mean, well, the coaching staff too. Like they're going at it, which makes it like more entertaining for the viewer. But one of you is going to look like a shithead, like
Right.
the end of Joanna and Claudia, when everybody's like, "Joanna's a bitch." It's like no, or like your season with Rampage, everybody's going one way or the other, and it's
but,
like
I mean, that's a part of making whenever you a part of something like that, and you have feelings like that, true genuine feelings, like you don't like the person. You just gotta let it go and
Did you not like
Focus
Rampage?
on the fighters.
and
Did you really not like Rampage?
No, I didn't like them, but we didn't cut up as much as we could have because I remember being on the show and I remember thinking the whole time I was on the show, like, this is these guys' opportunity. And as much as I wanted to make it about, how I genuinely didn't like them, I had to remember that this is their chance to do something, So I would remember that, but Mike Van Arsdale and Trevor Whitman will have to talk to me sometimes because sometimes I was like, you know what, fuck Rampage, and I was willing to just get as ugly and as stupid as he was, and just completely forget about the fighters who are like depending on me to coach or to be there for him.
Rampage also has that thing about him, what a lot of comics have, and Mayhem had it, where he has that aura about him.
Yeah.
He says something and people laugh.
They laugh no matter what. No,
and
if it's not funny or not.
Most of the time it's not funny,
Yeah,
but they want
laugh.
Rampage to like them, and Rampage is cool, and they remember Rampage in Pride.
But he is funny though.
He is
funny.
very
He's
funny.
very funny. He's very funny.
He's very funny, but he also has that thing where he's got surrounded by yes men.
Yeah, I
and
know.
well,
and
he
Mayhem,
also has his moods too. He can be in a bad mood, and it's like don't even fucking get within 50 feet
I
of
know,
him.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
you can't.
Mayhem's
I
like
heard
that
about
too, though. I remember Mayhem had these people that would surround him, and Mayhem would just act like an idiot, and all these people would
it was
laugh. And I'm like, "This is not funny. You're just enabling him." It's almost like enablers. In some
What is
way.
Mayhem doing now?
Mayhem.
MMA Rose, dude.
No, he did the podcast, but he's doing better. He's not doing drugs, so that's good.
He's not doing drugs. He's
No.
clean
Is he
now.
going back
Well,
to
I mean,
Venator?
I think he's still smoking weed, but he's not doing any illegal drugs.
Is he gonna fight again?
I don't know. He said he's waiting for a good. His last fight he came in 24 pounds heavy, of which he went down to Italy, Venator. He weighed in 24 pounds heavy, got off the scale, took his pants off, and then went back on the scale, like as if that was going to be. And then
It was chainmail shorts, by the way.
You're kidding me.
No, and then he had a Speedo under that, and they just kicked him out. Like he was going to go back on again, and they he had like a whole.
So wait, did he actually fight or not?
He did. He fought. So he was supposed to fight Luke Barnett.
Did he get destroyed?
No, then he went up a weight to
He
fight a
gassed.
guy, and then he gassed after the first. But he said he doesn't even remember even being there. He was like he said
His
he-
explanation for the weight gain. He's like, why he couldn't make weight? He said he went to sleep, had a dream. He drank
No,
3
he said-
gallons of water.
He said he took Ambien and was sleepwalking, and then went into his fridge, started drinking everything, and then he would have been 6 pounds over, but then now he was 20 pounds over
That don't make any sense.
because he gained 14 pounds
That's crazy.
of
of juice, of water, of liquid. That's crazy.
But but Mayhem, like,
Bless you.
there's a guy though, like, with all the talent in the
Could have been
world.
one of the best ever.
I don't know.
He had the talent and the potential for sure.
Yeah, he had a talent.
He
but
didn't hit that hard.
I think he got
hard.
caught up in the whole
Give me a mile.
mayhem thing.
Oh yeah.
And every single time I see that what is that commercial? The Progressive commercial.
Yeah.
Where I see the mayhem guy,
yeah.
I'm like that should have been him.
No, he had all the opportunities.
You know
Bully
the
Beatdown
commercial
was the
I'm talking
best
about?
thing and the
I
worst thing that
don't.
happened to him.
The guy from Law and Order, where he's like,
Yeah, got mayhem.
and then he falls on a car and he's like, got mayhem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but you're right though. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's a guy who knocked out Robbie Lawler, or he submitted Robbie Lawler. He
just
beat a lot of guys.
got so caught up trying to be, not being mayhem, but trying to be mayhem.
Yeah.
That's
Working
what I
in
feel.
Japan. Some similar
Yeah, I
Rampage.
feel like sometimes he
Similar
Dude, his
Rampage.
entrances in like Pride or whatever when he comes out dancing with
That
all
was
the
the best.
schoolgirls.
What about when Rampage went on that like thing with the cars? He ran into like 5 cars and then tried to flee the scene, but his truck says
With his
Rampage on
giant
it
truck,
with
yeah.
his picture. Like
terrible.
fucking incredible. So
Well, his-
anyway, all right. Rashad, what do you got coming up?
You talked about it.
August.
Yeah,
what? What's
August
the date?
5th
August 5th.
against Sam Alvey
Smiling
in
Sam.
Mexico City. So it's gonna be a long summer.
How much time you spend in Florida now?
Most of my time in Florida, but I'm gonna do most of my camp out and
You live right off of 441, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, giving everybody my
What's his
address.
address, Eve?
What time is he
441
home?
is a long ass road.
No, it is. It is.
Because he works for Uber, so
that's I gotta eat.
he knows
I gotta
exactly. And Yves, what do you got coming up?
I'm headed to Houston, of course, to see my son. But while I'm there, I'm gonna do a couple seminars. So you can check it out on my Instagram. I'll be there if you're in the Houston area. Come on out. Come get your thug jitsu up.
Now, can we talk about that video you showed me with the explosions?
With the explosions? Oh no, not yet. Oh, actually, that show got picked up by CBS, and the debuts. It's called SWAT, and it debuts on November 2nd.
If you guys want to hear something, so I tell Yves, yeah, I shot this little pilot, and I'm showing it like on my phone. It's like this thing I shot for like $50, and I'm like really proud of it. Whatever, it's the thing I was doing. He's like, yeah, I shot something too. So I'm like, oh, let me see. It's like an $80 million TV show. Like LAX like blows up. Like 75 cars go flying. I'm like, you got. Man, fuck, dude.
Rush Hour 4.
Like, Yves is running, dying. There's like bullets flying, like aliens come in. I'm like, what the fuck did you? What? That was the coolest thing. Now, what are you doing on that show?
I play a role of. I don't want to give it away, so I play a role on that show.
It's a big deal, man.
It's a pretty good show. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a pilot for the TV show SWAT, and Shamar Moore is the star of the show. We got they have a good, strong team of the cast. Kenny Johnson is on the show.
Kenny Johnson, the wrestling coach?
No.
Oh.
Kenny Johnson, the actor, the guy from what's the biker show?
Sons of Anarchy?
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
But Kenny, he's a cool guy. There's some great people on that show. Worked with Justin Yu, some of the guys from 8711.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. That was one of the cool. I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah. Just wait till it comes out.
You didn't even try to get your boy on the show. See how you did me. I feel like I need to move out here though. Like I feel like I need to
kill it out here, man.
Dude, I feel like I need to be out here.
Dude, so many people here playing fighters.
That's where you should be.
You were the UFC heavyweight champion. You're the champion.
I need to be out here, man.
You really do.
I'm moving out to LA. Hey, you got an extra room?
I need a roommate. I need a roommate.
You need a roommate.
You need a roommate?
I need a roommate.
Shit, I might have to move out
Your
here,
kids
man.
are 35 now, right? How old are your kids?
Shit, I got an 18-year-old, the oldest one.
18 years old.
18 years old.
College? Or?
She's in college right now.
Nice. Now, are you the protective dad, or are you?
Nah, I'm not, because you can't, like a kid, you gotta be careful. You can't squeeze and pressure them too much. You can't feel like they're in a corner, especially when they're the age that she is. Girls are the worst. Yeah, not the worst, but the girls are
harder.
They're harder. They're more challenging, especially as being a man. I try to give her the game plan of what these guys are about, but I mean, she believes in love, and that's a great thing. But
now, whoa, fucking bitter Rashad.
No, it's not.
Like,
no.
Now, okay, all right. Now, in school, was she known as Rashad's daughter? Were people like,
yes,
Rashad
at least every other year, I would go to her school to make sure that they knew
who I was.
Was it a public school or private school?
It was a public school.
So in the public
That's
school,
the only time of the year that sugar ain't sweet.
Yeah. No, so now, do you show up like in like the car outside with your?
Nah, I would go and I would do like meet the teachers and
teacher conference,
and I would they actually had an MMA class, and I actually did
no way
they had an MMA class.
And today we have special guest coach Rashad Evans.
So I went to show some technique one time.
Now, did she ever have a boyfriend that was a dick to her that you had to kind of like call him up and be like?
Nah, she always handled that pretty well. She's a very strong person.
She go for white guys or black guys?
She had a thing where she's like, Dad, I only want to date white guys. And I was like, okay, cool. And then she's like, Dad, I only want to date black guys. Okay, cool. And then now she's with, equal whoever she
I had a little kid on my wrestling team. He was like 12. This little black kid. I'm like, oh, do you have a girlfriend? He's like, yeah, but I'm done with black girls. They're too much drama. I was like, I'm like, you're 12, dude. Like,
Did you say he doesn't need that headache or some shit?
Yeah, I don't need that headache. I was like, I didn't know what to say. There's nothing that I could have said that wouldn't have been either creepy or racist.
I don't know what to say right here.
I had no idea what to say. There was no like handbook for what to say when a kid says that to you.
Yeah.
Wasn't there another one that said like, I don't want no girl running my life or something?
Yeah, I don't want no black girl running my life. That's what he told me.
He's 12 years old?
12 years old.
He lost his virginity 3 years ago already.
I was like, man, this kid's very smart. This kid's wise for his
how's
years.
his double leg?
I was like, go for the white girls. It's way easier.
But how's his head arm? Does he have a good head arm?
So wait, so now, when your girl was like, "I'm only dating white guys," was that right before you knocked out Chuck?
Oh man.
Did that give you extra incentive? Or,
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't care. I mean, she can date whoever she wants to date. I don't get caught up in all that. Like, if she likes a guy, he's white. That's cool. I don't care.
And you have sons too?
I do have 2 sons.
How old are they?
10 and 1.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why he was slow about saying it.
Well, the numbers aren't really adding up. Okay, so this is a new one. The 1.5.
Yeah, it's a
That's
new.
not-
It's
so-
a baby.
okay,
It's
the-
one every
baby.
8 years.
No. So
His
but
name is
you
name
had
is
an
Easy.
18 and a 10 with the same girl.
What's that?
The 18 and 10. That was what? That was,
No. When I was in high school, we just graduated high school. Like, I was 19, my first year in college. I got a girl pregnant.
Pregnant.
Yes.
And she kept it.
And then she kept it, and that's the 18-year-old now.
Okay.
And then I got married.
Yeah.
And I was married for about 4 or 5 years. And then we have 2 kids. I had a boy and a girl with her. And then I was divorced, and then I ended up having a baby with a girl I was with for a while. And that's the 1.5-year-old.
Oh, wow. So you have 3 baby mamas.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. All right.
He's like
Rashad's had a baby in every
Yeah,
decade.
yeah.
I was gonna say, he's like Dr. Dre.
every decade, yeah.
It's like Rashad's like Dr. Dre.
Yeah, I
Every 8
know
years
that.
he drops a new one.
Yeah, that's like everyone's 3 baby moms I know. Fucking,
So do you think
it's fucking typical?
So do you think, like, instead of like Sugar Rashad, it should be Baby Daddy Rashad?
Sugar Daddy Rashad? You know what though? I honestly, my yeah.
Is that why we keep fighting? Is that why the Sam Alvey and then the 10
No,
other guys that
no.
you're not?
I'm okay without fighting, but you know, my kids are my kids, and I'm very, very proud of them.
Are all the baby mamas black?
No,
So okay, so we got the first one was what?
half black,
Half black. Oh, okay.
and then black,
Second one's black.
and then that last one is Brazilian.
Oh my God!
Porra.
Wow.
Porra.
Where did you meet
Porra,
her?
caralho.
Did you meet her at the
In
Little
South
Nog?
Florida, I live in little Brazil in South Florida. You know, a lot of Brazilians.
Now, did she get upset that like you fought Little Nog and all those people? Was she rooting for them?
I don't know. She might have been.
Oh man!
It could explain a lot.
Wow. Damn. All right. So now, which one got mad at the podcast? Remember, you went on the podcast and you were saying that you were having so much fun, and then she got mad at you.
It was my ex-wife. Yeah, she got mad because I was kind of blurring the lines on the time, and she's like, "Wait a minute, you did this when we were together." So she kind of felt some kind of way, but I didn't though.
Now, are we gonna have any more kids or no?
I want to, maybe 2 more.
Really?
Yeah, 2 more.
Are we gonna have a white kid and like an Asian kid? Are we gonna go for the whole?
You know, I always
UN?
wanted an Asian kid. I was always.
Yeah, Asian black. Oh,
Yeah.
My son's half Filipino.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Whenever I see a Filipino girl, I'm always like, "Want a Filipinist?"
At first,
And
at first I was like, you know, baby's moms, but now I'm at the point where I already got 3, so I'm like, you know what? I might as well go for the gusto. Fuck it.
go for 5. That's now. Do you have more kids in title defenses? Like,
We're done. Drop the mic. Roasted is over.
God damn. This is the last time I come on this show.
He's sweating now. You got him sweating.
I'm saying no. You've had 3. How many? I'm trying to You've had 3 times.
Damn, dog. Let's put it this way.
That's
He's got
a
less
plus right
kids
there.
than it took minutes for Chuck Liddell to get off the mat.
All right, there we
man.
go. That's a nice save.
That's-
All right, so okay, all right, so there we go.
No, I got, yeah.
Yeah, you had 3. Yeah, you're
Listen.
you're a champion. You have great genetics. You're a good-looking guy.
Yeah, but
you got a bright future. You know, you're smart. If you want to have kids, go right ahead. You know, we need more kids, and you're a good dad. You're in all their lives.
Listen
right?
to this shit.
Right? I mean, you're in all their lives. You're a big part. You know, like
Yeah,
you're not
no,
a deadbeat dad.
I don't just drop
No.
off and not talk to
Do you
my
ever forget
kids
their
no more.
names? Or, no,
I don't got 15, goddamn it.
you got 4.
It's
You got
all
4.
Rashad or Rashida. It's not that hard.
George.
Nice.
I got 4.
You got 4 and
Aloysius.
I got Taja,
two.
Rashad Jr., Nia, and Ezekiel.
I told you they
Easy?
were named Rashad.
Easy.
Wow.
Ezekiel.
That's a Brazilian?
Yeah.
Ezekiel. Nice.
So if he finishes
Now
by
do it-
submission, it's easy does it?
No,
Hey,
it's
Easy does it.
1.5,
Easy does it.
10, 18, and how old's the other one?
What?
You have 4. You have 18, 10-year-old boy, 1.5-year-old boy, 8.
8.
Are they
8-year-old girl.
8-year-old girl. Is
Yeah.
the boy playing sports?
Yeah.
Wrestling?
Nah, he don't want to wrestle.
Football?
Yeah, he likes football, basketball, baseball, every other sport but wrestling.
Nah, it's okay. It's tough. And Eve, you have your son is how old? 13?
13. He'll be 14 on Wednesday.
Fortnite. What you get him present?
Yeah, he wants a Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
Shit, I want a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, me too.
And then what else you have?
I have a daughter.
How old is
She's
she?
23.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's trying to have a baby. Her and her husband are trying to have a baby. So.
Do you like the husband?
Yeah, I like Jesse a lot. He's a good guy. But I don't know how they're gonna have a baby if my daughter's a virgin. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
That was a good show.
all right.
It's been great having you on today.
I'm not gonna
Looking
finish-
forward to your next fight.
Yeah, I'm not answering that question. All right, listen, people. I will be. I'll be at the Haha this weekend, this Friday and Saturday. I'm going to Jordan for the troops. I'm going to Jordan with Lavelle Crawford. Me and Lavelle.
Oh, I love Lavelle Crawford.
Me
That's,
and Lavelle.
he's one of my favorites, man.
We're going to Jordan together.
Rashad's going to Jordan
He's
now.
still big, like
Yeah, but he's doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
He actually
man.
trains
I
jiu-jitsu.
gotta meet him, man. I gotta meet him.
And then Las Vegas. I'll be at the Vegas Comedy. I'll be at the Stratosphere Fight Week, International Fight Week. And then Fort Myers. I'm going to be in Fort Myers, Florida, in Naples, at Off the Hook Comedy Club in Naples, second week of July. Listen, Shorty Torres, get you a fight, man. Good luck with everything. Undefeated, great prospect. Rashad Evans, UFC Hall of Famer, former champion. Yves Edwards should be a Hall of Famer if I get a vote. Now he's got a show on CBS.
It's not my show.
You're on it.
I'm just on the
It's
pilot.
You have a part on a TV show.
I do.
A network show.
That's a big deal.
Quit downplaying it, man. That's huge.
No, it's awesome. It's fucking great. And we'll just wait until I get my own show.
Yes.
On a network station. On a network.
And you will.
I
You
will.
absolutely will.
Absolutely, 100%.
So thank you guys. If you would have told me that one day I'd have Yves Edwards and Rashad Evans in my apartment, in my 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment, I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind. So this is what makes everything worth it for me, is the fact that I get to talk to my heroes. So hope
And
you
I
guys
get to drink his
get
wine.
to drink my wine and tell me about all your kids. So
Tell you when you're allowed to drop the N-bomb or not.
never, absolutely
He
not.
can't, Adam cannot wait to drop the N-bomb.
No, only during songs.
Just be glad Greg's not here.
Only during
Just because-
only during Kanye songs. All right, so thank you guys so much. Have a great week and take care.